Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The time is approaching 6 p.m. when we'll call the meeting to order. And so this is a friendly reminder, if you want to put your phone on silent or vibrate, that'd be fantastic. Good evening. At 6 o'clock p.m., this Pontiac City Council meeting is called to order. We introduce Councilman William Parker Jr. to introduce this evening's invocation.
Thank you, Brother President, and good afternoon, everyone. Our invocation this evening will be given to us by Pastor Emeritus Kathy Desserel.
Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for the beautiful weather. We thank you for your gracious gifts, your kindness, your love. We thank you for this city. We thank you for all of the hundreds and hundreds of good people that live here. And Lord, we know that they have a reputation that is not really earned. Father, we ask that tonight, as the City Council comes together to make decisions, that they would be for the good of this city, to foster the love that exists in this city, to foster the kindness that exists in this city. And we ask, Lord, that as we leave this place today, we would find someone that we don't know, become their friend, because you sent us your friend, so that we could have the kind of life that you've promised us. We ask for peace and love and wisdom tonight through this meeting, and we ask these things in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We now have a moment of silence as a community, remembering those past city employees that have recently departed. You'll see that we will be adopting a resolution honoring the life and service of Donald Gracie Jr., who served as a City of Pontiac police officer. We'll also be honoring the life and service of Mr. Felix Brooks. Mr. Brooks, a Pontiac resident, served for 8 years at the Holland Community Center on Pontiac's east side, and he has passed away at the age of 88. He's also the grandfather of our Pontiac City Council Chief of Staff, Sharika Hawkins. We send our condolences to her and the entire family. And we also got word this morning of a former Pontiac employee, Phyllis Long, who ran the payroll department in the past. Ms. Long has also just passed away, so we will honor her with a resolution honoring her life and service and gratitude for her years that she dedicated to the citizens and serving the public at our next council meeting. Please join us as a community as we hold a moment of silence remembering Donald Gracie Jr., Felix Brooks, and Phyllis Long. Thank you for joining that. Clerk Doyle, roll call of council members.
Carrington.
Present.
Goodman.
Here. Yes.
James. Jones,
Present.
McGinnis,
Present.
Parker,
Here.
Rutherford.
Present.
Mr. President, you have a quorum.
Quorum is established. Could I please have a motion to
So
excuse Councilwoman Kathy Lee James from the meeting for personal reasons?
Support.
It was been moved by Councilman Rutherford, seconded by Councilwoman Jones. Councilwoman James is traveling and visiting family out of state, so we wish her a safe return when she comes home, and wishing her and her extended family all the best. Hearing no further discussion, roll call. Clerk Doyle on the motion to excuse Councilwoman Kathy Lee James from the meeting for personal reasons.
Carrington,
Yes.
Goodman,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Rutherford.
Yes.
6 yeas, no nays.
That motion carries. The resolution is adopted. The excusing is adopted. We are at motion to approve the agenda. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Support.
It's moved by Councilman Rutherford, seconded by Councilman Parker. Is there any request to amend the agenda? We do have one request from the community that we heard about having a special presentation acknowledging winners of the recent talent show in the community. I don't see Mr. Tolbert here who requests. Oh, there you are, Mr. Tolbert. Okay, so I'd like to move to amend the agenda so that way after public communications, we would add a special presentation for the talent show winners to be celebrated.
So moved.
And seconded by Councilwoman Jones? Okay. Moved by Goodman, seconded by Jones, that we amend the agenda to add a special presentation. Any discussion on that amendment? Hearing none, roll call. Clerk Doyle on that change to the agenda order.
Jones,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Rutherford,
Yes.
Carrington,
Yes.
Goodman.
Yes.
6 yeas, no nays.
All right, that amendment to the agenda is approved. So we're back to the agenda adoption as amended. Any other changes or discussion? Yes, Councilwoman Jones.
Could we push the special presentation to before public comment?
It is.
Oh, I thought you said
This is
after.
public
I apologize.
communications.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that clarification. Okay, that's all.
Any other discussion on the agenda as proposed? All right, if we need to make changes as we go, we certainly can. Without objection, after the consent agenda, if there are members of either the Gracie or Brooks family that wanted to speak about those resolutions adopted, we will do so without objection. All right, hearing no further discussion, roll call. Clerk Doyle on adoption of the agenda as amended.
Goodman,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Rutherford,
Yes.
Carrington.
Yes.
6 yeas, no nays.
That motion carries. The agenda is adopted. Next, we're at approval of the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? It's been moved by Councilman Rutherford, seconded by Councilwoman Jones. This is what's in tonight's consent agenda. A, City Council Facilities and Properties Subcommittee meeting minutes of June 27th. B, City Council Parks, Recreation, and Public Works Subcommittee minutes of June 20th. C, City Council regular meeting minutes of June 24th. D, resolution honoring the life and service of Donald Gracie Jr. E, resolution honoring the life and service of Felix Brooks. F, resolution to authorize the sale of city-owned real estate at East Wilson Avenue. It's a vacant lot at parcel identification number 1433405-038 that was previously discussed, as well as a public hearing held at the previous council meeting. G, resolution to authorize the 2017 sale of city-owned real estate at 9 Fittis. It's a vacant lot with parcel identification number 14-28-184-007. Again, a public hearing was held at the last city council meeting. H, resolution scheduling a public hearing for the next meeting of July 29th on the proposed removal of 5 parcels from the Tax Increment Financing District, or TIF District Number 2 boundaries. I, resolution to grant the Joseph Jones Drainage District easement for Oakland Park and Aaron Perry Park. That's green infrastructure improvement projects happening with the Oakland County Water Resources Commission and supported with external funding that will bring improvements, including flood mitigation, natural flood mitigation efforts to Oakland Park and Aaron Perry Park. J, Resolution approving the selection of multiple qualified engineering firms to provide various professional engineering services to the City of Pontiac. Those are the items of the consent agenda. Hearing no request for any of those items to be pulled or any objections, roll call and adoption of the consent agenda. Clerk Doyle.
Jones,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Rutherford,
Yes.
Carrington,
Yes.
Goodman.
Yes.
6 yeas, no nays.
That motion carries. The consent agenda and those items are approved. Are there any members of the Brooks or Gracie family that wanted to speak regarding the resolution that we've adopted? We'll, of course, be presenting copies of those resolutions to the family, and our condolences again. Thank you for sharing your loved ones with the City of Pontiac, with their city service. We're now at public communications. Just really quickly to give you update on different items of substance and benefit to the citizens. The City Council at our last regular City Council meeting approved the enhancements for retirees, city retirees. It includes an enhanced pension benefit with retroactive increase and an agreement settlement amendment. We wanted to share with you, since we made that decision at the last City Council meeting, June 24th, the Cypria board voted, they met, and they voted in favor as well of that agreement update. Even more, at today's full Cypria membership meeting, they met, they had their quorum, they had proper notice given, and they voted in favor of the amendment as well. So now, in addition to the City of Pontiac approving, Cypria has now approved, and that can now go jointly together to the judge, federal judge, so that we can get the date settled, set, and be able to put that to bed, hopefully to the satisfaction of all involved with the City of Pontiac and our retirees. So those are the two big updates since we voted on it last, and we'll keep updating the community when we hear more progress on that major issue. B, at the last City Council meeting, the City Council approved the purchase agreement for 300 West Huron, the former Pontiac Central High School, to serve as City Public Works Operations Center. Wanted to let you know that since that vote at the last regular meeting, the mayor, the administration executed that purchase agreement. They are processing the refundable down payment or deposit that the budget amendment had already been approved, and now the due diligence period is underway. So over the next few months, independent entities are checking to confirm the structural and mechanical and other elements of the building, and if that doesn't fly, if there's some issue that arises, we will let the community know that that purchase is no longer proceeding or what developments happen, but right now that due diligence period is underway. C, since our last City Council meeting, we voted to ratify the renewal of fire services with Waterford Township. Since our last City Council meeting, Waterford Township's board also voted, and they also approved that contract. So that has, to our knowledge, Mayor and Deputy Mayor, that has been executed. They have executed. So we have fire services continuing through the Waterford Regional Fire Department. D, Rubicon litigation. It has a more formal name, but you might have heard a lawsuit involving the City of Pontiac related to Glenwood Plaza, the former shopping center at Glenwood Plaza. There was news coverage saying a $60 million lawsuit filed against us taxpayers some years ago. We have received good news, that that has been dismissed. That lawsuit against the city and us taxpayers has been dismissed, and that is with prejudice, meaning that they cannot refile that litigation. Of course, there is an appeal period of a few weeks, so let's send positive vibes for us taxpayers' sake, but wanted to let you know that news since those questions have been raised before. But at this point, the Rubicon litigation filed against us taxpayers has been dismissed. E, construction is underway on Voorhees between Telegraph and Orchard Lake for the next few months as drain, sewer main, water main work is being done there, and a new road construction and a smooth road will follow. F, we're in the home stretch at Hawthorne Park, now known as Pontiac Oaks County Park, is closed right now while they're doing construction. We'll let you know when that park is open again for the public. G, Pride and Beautification Awards nominations are now closed from the City Council, and signs are on their way to those winning homes soon. You can contact City Council offices if you have questions. And then H, I want to give the floor to Councilwoman Rutherford. She can share these series moves to each side of town, each district. Councilwoman, do you want to share about the next concert in the park coming to District 1?
Good evening, everyone. We have a concert this Thursday in the best district ever, in District 1. It's going to be called New World Order. I will be the MC, the CEO, so if you've never had an experience, get ready to have a good time. They're an amazing band. It's an amazing group, and they're in an amazing district. That's all I got.
Okay, so that's 7 o'clock p.m. this Thursday, July 10th at Rotary Park, and that's New World Soul. All right, Councilman Goodman, do you want to share the communication about your next district project?
Absolutely, I would. Hello, everyone. If you know, my favorite thing to do is my pullover prevention clinic for the community. The next one is this upcoming Sunday, the 13th, from 1 to 5. Those of you who do know the drill, but those of you who don't, there's a lovely set of mechanics to help us out. We fix minor repairs for people, headlights, taillights, AC recharges, and other small things to make sure people can stay on the road, but more importantly, don't get pulled over unnecessarily by law enforcement, because that seems to always escalate for some reason. So in addition to providing those minor repairs, we're going to have free barbecue from Uncle Jerry's. We're going to have the Fair Housing Center for Metro Detroit. They're providing some housing tenants' rights assistance and advice. There will be pet supplies. The county will be there providing vaccines. So throughout that 4-hour time period, please come get resources. It's an amazing event every single time. There are so many things. There are things there for everyone. So whether or not you're just coming for resources or you're coming to get car repairs, this is a event that is completely open and available to anyone in Pontiac, or if you know people who don't live in Pontiac. If you have a cousin that lives in Detroit, they can also come. This is meant to help as many people as possible, so I really want the community to continue to use it the way it has been. Thank you.
Thank you. And then the final communications, we'll give the floor to Clerk Doyle to share letters J, K, and L.
I should also say where it is.
Okay, say where it is.
I forgot to mention, it is at the Baldwin Center, 212 Baldwin Avenue. Many of you who are in the crowd probably see the flyer that's on your seat, and if not, there are a couple on the back table. So yeah, thank you.
Very good. Clerk Doyle.
Thank you, Mr. President. So absentee voting is underway. You can obtain, if you have not already received your absentee ballot by mail, you can obtain an absentee ballot in the clerk's office anytime during our normal business hours, 8:30 a.m. until 4:30 p.m. You will also be able to soon vote early, beginning on the 26th of this month. But the other thing is the clerk's office is holding an adult use community visioning session on social equity on July 16th at the Bowen Center at 6 p.m. We really want to get your input. There are flyers in the seats. It will start at 6 at the Bowen Center. Light refreshments will be served, so please email or contact the clerk's office to let us know that you will be attending. And then the next regular city council meeting is Tuesday, July 29th at 6 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Clerk Doyle. Councilwoman Jones, I want to give her the floor to give further communications about that Voorhees construction, because there's a lot more construction underway in District 2 as well, and want to flag. She wants to make sure the community hears this further.
Yes, thank you very much, Council President. So in addition to Voorhees and Telegraph, that intersection through to Orchard Lake being closed, Ruth Avenue is also experiencing some work to their sewer repairs. And I want to give a quick note. This is public communication number E. Please do not attempt to bypass the detour by passing through Ruth. It is not a through street, and it will likely cause you more delays and can compromise the safety of that neighborhood. So just please remember, Ruth is not a through street. It is also experiencing work, and there are residents and children that move through that area and are also trying to navigate this heavy construction. That's all.
Thank you. We are now at that special presentation. Want to celebrate the talent show that recently took place in the community. Want to give the floor to organizer Carrie Tolbert and your team. You want to turn the microphone on at the bottom right. You're live.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Carrie Tolbert. I'm the CEO of A Father's Presence And basically, our goal is to help men become better fathers, not just in their home, but in the community. Recently, we had a talent show which benefited people from Oakland County, Wayne County, and Genesee County. Some of them are here if you guys want to come on up. And them girls. All right, here we are. And I just want to say, it takes a community, a real village to do the things that we did. This young lady's from Flint, second place winner. And we had a lot of talent here in the city of Pontiac. And it couldn't be possible without the support that we got from our sponsors, like Pro Tem, Mr. Carrington, President Mike McGinnis, Kermit Williams, Alexander Riley, and I just named a couple more really quick. Star EMS, Earth to Earth, Affordable Auto. We had Pontiac really step up and really support these young kids. And it's amazing at the talent that they possess. So the first place winner is right here. You'd like to come up and say anything about the girls and what it takes to win first place?
We just want to thank you guys for inviting us to come and perform. We perform all over the place, so it's good to come home and perform because we don't do it often. And I wanted to make sure some of my heavy hitter dancers came and supported us. So these are our captains. Step up, please. Naija Bell, she's one of our captains. Samaria White, she's another captain. One of our junior captains, Kyla Jackson, who's going to high school in a couple of years, will be, once we phase them out, because they're graduating next year and going off to college, she'll be our head captain. And then our youngest co-captain, Dynasty Henry, she's only 8 years old, but she has a spirit of definitely a much wiser and more mature young lady. So I just want to give them a hand. And also my right hand, Taria Reed, who's also pivotal in this. This is her organization, Them Girls Dance Factory, and I'm the head coach and one of the head choreographers for the organization. So just thank you for the opportunity.
All right, thank you. Now, mind you, this was the first place winner. They won $1,000. So that's something we can clap for. They won $1,000. Yeah.
Hello, thank you. How y'all doing? I like to, my daughter, Devana, came in second place. Come to the front. She's been doing this since she was 3. We put in competitions throughout the country. She performed for America Got Talent. She performed with the Piston Dancers about 5-6 times a year. And it was an honor for us to be in this competition. And we'd like to thank y'all for having us. And congratulations to my daughter for her achievement.
Yeah. Second place winner, she won $500. And this young lady, come on in for her. And she sung in a junior competition. So all of the junior contestants got a $100 prize. There was 3 of them.
Hi, I'm Mila. I'm 10 years old, and I was performing in this talent show. And I just wanted to thank Carrie for all his hard work and the opportunity for me to be in this talent show. And it really motivated me to step up and do more. And I am saying thank you for also sending me home with a prize. And
okay, Mr. Phillips, Mr. Williams, they were judges. Mr. Kermit, he on MC did a great job. You guys like to say something to the public, please?
Did a great job.
Yeah.
I need y'all to do a little bit better than that. I need you to put your hands together for these kids. You know, it's no secret that the arts is a dying art form here in Pontiac because of so many budget cutbacks we've had over the years, especially inside the school district, where we had to go ahead and lose all of our artistic program for the most part. Band's trying to be resurrected right now, which I'm greatly appreciative of that. But ultimately, when we start looking at the art form, too, we're talking about, when you start talking about entertainment, there's a multitude of different classifications of entertainment. You have singing, you have dancing, theatrical, poetry, you know, spoken word. And the reality is we haven't seen nothing like that since the pandemic in live and in person. So, Carrie, I want to go and say to you, Congratulations on helping us resurrect that here in Pontiac. But as a judge, this was the most difficult thing humanly imaginable. I did not expect when this man called and said, I want you to come judge, I had no idea the type of pedigree of talent we were going to go and have hit that floor over at the Strand Theater. Those kids were amazing. And I'm going to tell you, if you didn't, put your hands together for that. They were amazing. And if you did not get a chance to see it this time, we're going to do it again when? October? In October, make it your business to get down to the Strand Theater and be a part of it. That was amazing. And we only gave away how much money we give out?
$2,100.
Only $2,100. So, and how much you looking to give out the second go round? $2,500 going the second go round. So a little bit more money being added to the wood, but it gives us the opportunity to go ahead and lift our kids up when it comes to doing something that they absolutely love to do, which is what they did. And they did it, and they did it exceptionally well. So that being said, Carrie, congratulations to all the winners. Congratulations again. And
all right. Give it up again for Kano. He did a financial job judging along with Pro Tem Carrington, Alex Riley, and we had Tanisha Miller from the school board who were our judges. I do not envy their job and their position. We had one of the guys who were not here. I think he's went viral on Facebook. He's got almost 200,000 views when he was dancing from the dynamic duo. So this was phenomenal that was there. I want to give Kerry his flowers because we have to make sure that we're bringing the things back for our kids that we had when we were children. I went to school on the theater scholarship, and these kids may not have the opportunity, but bringing that talent show back. And so we're going to do it again October 3rd. Everybody say October 3rd. $2,500 for the grand prize winner, and we want to thank the city for their participation. It really blessed my heart to see everybody from all of the entities and fashions coming together to support this talent show. We want to make it bigger and better, and we also want to thank the Strand Theater. That's a jewel in Pontiac, and for our people to perform from all over the state right here in the center of the universe was phenomenal. But again, I want to give it up not only for the kids, but the parents who brought them out with that hard time. So let's thank the parents, and let's thank Pontiac. There.
That's it. And thank you guys for having us. And parents, please support your kids. It don't have to be financially. My mom used to make my flyers for me. And, just anything you can do to help out. They need us. They're looking forward for our guidance. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, sir. All right, with that, we'll move to public comment. Pro Tem Carrington, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you, President McGinnis. Dr. Deirdre Waterman.
We applaud our kids, and I'm excited every time I see some enhancement activity for our children. That they are our future, and that's one of the things that I've always tried to add to my agenda or be on boards and to help with our children. It's just prideful to see that and see them coming right up here in Pontiac. So for everybody who does that enrichment for our children, that's great. There is a saying in the Talmud that he who saves the life of one child saves the world in time. So I'm happy to follow that presentation. But I'm going to talk about something that you had just mentioned, President McGinnis, and that was the Rubicon litigation, which is, you said, dismissed. The Rubicon case, and I don't know if people know about this. This has been going on a long time here in Pontiac. And the Rubicon case had to do with the development at Glenwood Plaza. And although you say that it's dismissed, people should know what was the loss to the city and to the citizens by having that case handled the way it was. And there were two cases before that the city lost because of the way it was handled. And because they were lost, the city lost the development of that Glenwood Plaza. And I happen to know, because I worked with the the people from the district at the time that part of the development was to have what a lot of people want to have is a national franchise grocery store here in Pontiac. So they were going to bring a Hollywood market, but because that was handled badly, we're not going to get that, and that's a loss for the city. So everything's not written here, but I think that I wanted to say. But the other thing is that the $60 million that we missed the bullet on is good. We didn't lose that. But I wanted to read an article from the Detroit News, January 27th of this year, which tells a little bit more about the story and some of the shenanigans that went on with that. And it quotes, I'm going to quote the Detroit News, and it says that, I'm going to quote it exactly, so let me just find it in here. And this is from Attorney Chubb, who was a city attorney. He said, Mr. Taylor stated that Waterman was getting into his business and he was going to get back at her. Now that sounds like a little bit of a threat. And I'll tell you what that threat was about. It was about something that I stand for. I stand for.
Dr. Waterman concludes your public comment.
I will continue later.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Mr. Kevin Stewart.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. I want to address you regarding your comments regarding Everett C. With you being a counselor, I would have taken it a little better, or I would have been able to digest it better if you would have kept your mouth closed instead of publicly defaming Everett C. Everett C. has done a lot of good in this community. He stumbled, fell, hit his head, and at this point, we have an individual that's running for mayor that stumbled, hit his head. I haven't heard you say a word. You have not said one word. What makes and sets Everett apart from another individual that made a mistake other than race? And that's what I'm accusing you of right now, of race baiting. I'd also like to turn the tables and mention Alexandria Riley, Kermit Williams, and Mark Holland. Those individuals that are running for mayor right now. And I'm not campaigning. Mayor Waterman, I thank you for bringing 2 of the 3 into your administration and giving them an opportunity to learn and lead this city. But we have former elected officials, 2 big clergy, and everyone else supporting an individual who has a checkered past. These individuals played by the rules. As far as I'm concerned, they broke no laws. They did what they were supposed to do. They followed the rules. And the first thing we say to our young people is follow the rules, get your education, and do the right thing. And then when they do, and I'm not supporting any of the candidates, and then when they do follow the rules, we spit in their face. And Tim Grime, I want you to know I didn't appreciate the way you spoke of Everett. Shame on you. And I will be joining you on your campaign trail down M59, and I'm planning on converting to MAGAism. And I'm going to join you. And I'm going to let those individuals know how well you treated the city of Pontiac.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Mr. Cornelius Walker, I'm sorry.
Good evening.
Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and City Council. I want to refer back to the last council meeting, which kind of got a little heated on my behalf. But I want to bring a reasoning to why that was heated. In a prior meeting of the DPW meeting the day prior, and when you kind of are passionate about something, you still must contain yourself. I'm raised by a single mother. I'm the only boy and the youngest boy. One thing we never do or have done is treat a woman or speak to a woman in any manner, or put your hands on her. Not saying that's what happened, but a woman was really disrespected, in my opinion. So that kind of carried with the person into this chamber, and it shouldn't have. So with that, I apologize for that. But even at that meeting, there was an accusation made. I guess he's supposed to be some type of contractor, I guess. But
Sir, it's
but
no, sir. Yes, sir. You have a chance.
I hold a builder's license with the state of Michigan. Cornelius Walker. CW and Company, LLC, is also licensed by the state of Michigan. And I have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau here in Pontiac. So just to clear up those little matters, and one thing being the only son and the youngest, my mom always told me, when you make a mistake, you try to fix it. I would also like to speak to this campaign that's going on right now. Everybody's running against each other. That's fine. Do the best you can do. But at the end of the day, there's going to be a winner and there's going to be a loser. My mom always taught me you have to be a good winner, but you have to be a great loser. We still are going to have to respect each other at the end of the day. And with that, I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Mr. Marcus Bowman.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. I'll be brief. I'd like to just say, can we pray for all of those who've lost somebody in this community? Because the last few days I've been hearing about so many deaths and so many tragedies going on. So I think we all should just pray for our people in our community. So if you're at home, just send out some prayers to our community because we need it right now. We need healing. I was gathered and thinking about some thoughts and some things I wanted to say, and I spoke with a friend. They said I should write it down because you can deliver a message more powerfully when you write it down. So I tried to make sure I took everything and every morsel of my thought process to write it down. So I ask you all to bear with me. But in thinking, I realized that we can't let division define us. We aren't enemies because of positions. Whether we sit on the council or whether we sit on the school board, the library board, or whether we work as a police officer in this community, we're neighbors. We're stakeholders in the future of Pontiac. Pontiac deserves a rebrand, not just in image, but in action. Let's shift the negative from a struggling community to one of strength. Let's build unity. Let's unify our entities in this community. The Pontiac School Board, the Library Board, the Housing Commission, the Police Department. Together, we can build a positive ecosystem rooted in education, safety, stable housing, the very things that make a community thrive. This is not just about politics or policies. It's about people. We can show our youth that leadership can look like partnership, that collaboration is way more powerful than conflict, that we can change the tone of our neighborhoods, our schools, and our homes. This is the time to reshape Pontiac's identity. This is the time we rise above all the noise. This is the time that we create possibilities so people can see what us look like working together as one. Rebranding Pontiac is a start with unity. It starts with it. The unity starts with us. One Pontiac, one vision, one community. Let's build a better Pontiac. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bowman. Renee Beckley.
I hope you have volume on this mic, because last week when I saw the replay, you couldn't hardly hear the people at this mic speak. We can hear you, but we can't hear people at the mic. This council, for the most part, I do not want to see anyone elevated to a higher seat, nor be reelected. Last week proves this council celebrated the amendment to the retiree settlement agreement, but basically it's back to mediation or back to court. So there's no check, no money in the account. They still don't have their money. That's the point. They want their money. They've been waiting for their money 4 or 5 years. What's so hard about not giving these people their money? I wouldn't have no job holding my money up that long. Y'all celebrate, oh, we got back in mediation. No, cut the check. They still haven't seen one down. You're just dangling a carrot in front of their face. So Mike said he wants to move faster. So he could move so fast. Why? The question is, why the retirees do not have their money if he moves so fast? That's not fast. 4 years? Really? Mike McGinnis led in charge of all the approvals for Tim Grimal, the bridge. Closed that. Did not complain about it. He saw the money from Haley Stevens, Brenda Carter, and there's one other person, Jeremy, I think. Brought the money in, didn't say anything about it. In his district, still closed. Major route for the hospital. Closed since 2022. And still no work. And I'm going to ask you, Mr. Johnson, that thing to pull the thing down after the meeting, I don't know what they call it. Nothing. Nothing. And then only say something when asked. That's the only time he protests about that bridge. So seldom complains, but silent on the issue. Now, this PAC, I was in rush last week. The PAC is Rutherford, Jones, Parker, McGinnis, and quiet now until after the primary, Carrington. And if he wins, maybe Marcus Bowman. Now, the question to Melody Rutherford, I keep getting asked this, I don't know. Is it your desire? It's a rumor that you really want to be president of the city council if you win. Yes or no? Question. I seen this with my own eyes. This council scrambling in December to get reach the deadline for the American Rescue things. That's not leadership. That's somebody that's not ready to lead. That's somebody that's ready to leave, like leave out the door, L-E-A-V-E, leave. So here's the question. Why is the tax bill higher this time? Folks, it comes from this council right here, the Yes team. That's why your tax bill is higher. Mine's is higher. Team Yes, blame it on them. And that's where it starts. Come down here and tell them about it. Thank you.
That concludes your public comment. Thank you. Mr. Chuck Johnson.
Thank you very much, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't come down here to defend myself because I know what Chuck Johnson's about. What I did come down here for is when you come to this microphone and you give your name and address and information, sometimes individuals don't really know the truth of the matter. So what happened was I got taxed over $2,000 because the man downstairs didn't know that I lived at 21 North Paddock. And I think there was another individual, or maybe a few individuals in the city that got tagged. But see, I went and I fought my fight at the state. And the state said, Mr. Johnson, we know you live at 21 North Paddock Road, so the tax man downstairs, you can tell him, kiss this goodbye. And thank you very much. Now, to the rest of you citizens, to the sound of my voice, be mindful of how you're being misused, in a sense, because what's happening is all the citizens in this city, you can't use your property the way you thought you could use it. And this is especially for the Hispanic community, because all of us is running and ducking our so-called code enforcement that you folks approved, but never gave the citizens an opportunity to defend themselves from the tickets and the violations that you have created through the law and through the courts. You find all over this city people building fences, planting trees, hiding their tools and equipment behind the garage and putting it in the bedroom, you name it. It's not fair, citizens. You are being assessed a fine or you're being tagged because you're trying to use your property the way that you thought you could use it, but you really can't. You can't even park 2 cars in your driveway. If you put one on the grass, you're going to get a ticket. And, you know, it's not fair. You folks, before you leave, you need to rescind that Code Enforcement Act. You can go anywhere in this county, even further, and you'll find that the rules that we have to live by as it relates to our property don't have the same message in other communities. And it's terrible that we have to endure this. I watch some of my Hispanic friends. I mean, they're scrambling, trying to hide scaffolding, 2x4s, work that they use to make their living, feed their families, and running fearful because our code enforcement, so-called, that was brought forth through this government, whoever brought it, you guys approved it, it's not fair. You need to look at this issue again. Or, hopefully, if you don't, maybe the next government may do something about it. I have a whole minute left, 59 seconds. I don't know what to say.
You don't have to use it. I did push your button belatedly.
Well, anyways, you know, just be mindful. Whenever a person comes up here and talk about you or say something about you, it's all out of jealousy and hatred. They're trying to get where you already been. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Carlton Jones?
Got a couple things, but I just want to piggyback on what Chuck was saying. I had the pleasure, I'll say, today to go to a pre-conference with the courts. And it's interesting what Chuck was talking about because it's very true. They told me that there are some ordinance that have never been enforced that now they're trying to enforce. And one of them is if you own a home in Pontiac and there's no one in there, you need to pay $500 for a vacant home. I didn't know there was an ordinance on the books like that. But I think those type of things that our government is starting to enforce, we need to come to the people and let them know that these are some of the things we're now going to start trying to enforce. I mean, it's just fair that you do that, and that's the role of council people who talking to their constituents to make sure that those type of things are being told to the residents before they start enforcing them. And if you're not doing that part, you're not really serving us properly. So I just want to say, I caught whatever Chuck was talking about because I had some people knocking on my door about some of my properties and everything, and I know where it was coming from. I know exactly where it's coming from. And I had very few of you all come to me and say, hey, what can we do to help you, Carlton? I'm just calling a spade a spade. This ain't up here trying to attack nobody. But if you say you're really supposed to be helping residents, when residents get attacked by administration for some unknown reason, you should be the first one to come to them and see what you can do to help. But I do want to talk about Pontiac Vote. Pontiac Vote is now is our time. Everybody here, this right here is the citizens, everybody here, this is your time to cash in on making sure we hold our government accountable. Because right now, there's no accountability. I'm going to tell you just like it was when we celebrated June 13th, June 19th. Right now, that was because they didn't know. But now you know, because we're going to get 3 minutes, some of us coming here to let you know what's really going on. So we want you to know, as I've been out there in the streets, I'm going to tell you, council, people, administration, nobody trusts administration. There's no accountability. You can do all the applauding and picture taking you want, but there's no accountability for council holding administration, and administration is in a flux right now of what's going on. The next thing that I want to bring to the attention is workforce development. I asked about it today. I'm getting a runaround. So if anybody say, hey, we got workforce development done, it's not in place, and it's not set up properly. And the next thing is the planning department. We don't know how important that planning department is to all the stuff we got going on. And council, I offer some help because you need to help, let the people inside help instead of bringing all these consultants on who are tied to these developers and think they're going to help us. It don't work that way. I'll be back around. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Ms. Marie Thomas.
Good afternoon, everyone. I stand here tonight in disappointment. We, the residents, we come down here time after time. We scream, we holler, we shout. We beg for help. We beg for the administration and the council people to give us a hand in taking pride in where we live. We get neglected. We get statements made about certain people, which does us no good. Pontiac has always been a city that had pride. Individuals took pride in their houses. I understand that economics take place, city goes down, but we see no jobs coming in that's worthy enough to bring in people that really wants to stay and help build up our city again. The beautification, I came down and dropped off 5 beautification applications. I stay between I stay on Highland between Nebraska and California. Last year, we didn't get any. Somebody from over on the golf course came by, looked at our lawns, came down and picked up some signs for us. There is 3 single women in that application that I brought down for the beautification sign. We work hard on trying to keep our place together. Does it get mowed every week? No, it does not. Does it get mowed maybe every other week? Yes, it does. But let me explain something to you. Every year, I have to seed my lawn. And I'm from the South, and I put Kentucky bluegrass down. And you know how much it's a 50-pound bag of bluegrass costs? $275. Okay? I use organic fertilizer. For a little 25-pound bag, I'm paying $125. You can't always water your grass when you put it down because it's what you have to do, certain things you have to do for that lawn. No beautification. I ride around on the south side over there. I'm seeing all these pretty beautification signs. But you want us to help take care of our property. But you don't want to award us because we do. And it's the same thing else. You know what? The rules and regulations you make, when you leave from up there, you're going to have to live by them too. But always remember, Karma got a girlfriend and his name Mayhem.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas. Pastor Kathy Desiree.
While the next speaker is coming up, I just want to share there were 241 nominations for District 1, and the signs are still being delivered.
It's 2:45, actually.
I had something prepared that I was going to say tonight because I thought it was important. But I attended a funeral for a Pontiac man today that I've known for 25 years. And I watched 1,100 people at that funeral, mostly Pontiac people, loving on each other, telling the good things that had happened as a result of this young man. And he was young, he was 51. The good things that happen in this town never, ever get told. Once in a while, we have some kids that have done wonderful things, but what about the adults who do wonderful things? All we talked about for 2 hours and 40 minutes was the good things that this young man did. And he did them in Pontiac, for Pontiac, to Pontiac. And yet, 2 weeks ago, I sat in this room and I listened to people, and he's not going to like this, assassinate my friend, Pastor William Parker, his character. I've worked with him and for him. And when you tell somebody that that man votes his ego, he doesn't have an ego, folks. He has God. And he prays over what he does in this place. And I sat today with 1,100 other people who are in love with each other and this city because of people who do good things. That man does good things. Chad did good things. And there were numbers of people who stood up and said, I'm here as a result of what he taught me. 51. And his twin did his eulogy, all the wonderful things that his brother had done for the people in this town. That's just one man. One man. Because he loved the people of this city. These people who sit up here, they're not perfect, but they love the city they live in. They're doing the best they can. Politics is not easy. If you think it is, give it a try. Because the buck doesn't stop here. The buck stops, let's see, that might be the White House. The buck stops somewhere else all the time. But you do the best you can. Chad did the best he could. And 1,100 people today stood up and said, we loved this man, what he did for this city and what he did for us. Those people up there love this city. They're not perfect.
Thank you, Ms. Desiree. Ms. Darlene Clark. Ms. Clark. And Ms. Miller on deck.
Good afternoon, Council, Administration, and Mr. Garland. My job is to get the people's voice out there to say what the people cannot come here to say. So let's address this one elephant that's in the room that's been here since the actually beginning of your administration, as being a pastor. A lot of people in the city of Pontiac do not feel a pastor belong on council, which is politics. Politics, as I've always said, is the devil's playground. If you say nothing, you're just as good as lying as the politicians can do every day. So with that elephant out the room, that is one of the problems what people have with Councilman Parker. Another situation that I have to address well is the financial supervisor. The city still today don't have one. I attended an economical meeting. Council Mike McGinnis put it very clear. It does not look like this year, at the end of this administration, the administration is going to get deputy financial advisor. Another thing I have to express too is that your term is coming up. The people are now feeling at a loss. Mr. C, a relative who came here, has brought attention to Mr. Mike McGinnis to say that, hey, one stone is no better than the other stone. If M&C had a problem, he paid the cost for that problem. Mike McGinnis had a problem. He's sitting in the presidential chair. That is what the people are saying. Council, you cannot ignore and not answer the questions of the people. They elect you here. You're not confusing them. You actually take away your credibility for the last 4 years, 3 years and 6 months or 7 months that you have presented to the people. And now what's happening now, you're bringing out of a lot of tension that is not saying nothing. Now, Councilman Parker, if you feel that you can do good being a pastor on that seat, then explain to the people that's what your cause is. I'm not explaining that for them. Only you can answer why you decided to take that seat, and you can answer it publicly. Mike McGinnis, you with the Tea Party, and it was the Tea Party where you did the votes, okay? Then you answer to the people the questions they ask. Address the issue. Don't run from the issue. Running away from the issue that the people have at hand is only making matters worse.
Thank you, Ms. Clark. Ms. Miller.
Hold on a second before you start, because I want to get all this out today, because I had to come down today and speak on this. Pastor Catherine, you are so correct. There are good people in the world. I like to consider myself one, because I don't take kickbacks. I speak my mind and don't care who like it. I just try to be truthful, and I love the citizens of Pontiac. And we got the best citizens in Pontiac because I've been to many of them homes. And they know game when they see game. May not think that, but they know game when they see game. Especially seniors, you can't fool them. With that being said, first thing I want to mention, Council President Mike McGinnis, you mentioned that the case for the girls is going to be federal, by the federal judge. So since that case was closed without prejudice, are you going to reopen? Are we reopening the case? Maybe you want to explain that at the end. Are we starting over? Okay. Now the second question is the street. Councilman Parker, my constituents on Emerson Street over in that way. They called me last week. They want to know if you would send a sweeper over there on that street. They said they haven't had one in years. 4 years. Wow. 4 years, all right, Kevin, because I know you be on the streets. And they need their sewer and everything's taken. So Chuck, you says none? Oh, my God. Okay, so I told him I would mention this. Hopefully, you out in TV land, you see me. I gave you a message for you. Now, my last comment is going to be on a sour note because I got this call yesterday, and they know me. They said, you speak for the people. And when I seen this, I brought it down because I want to read it. And I'm going to show you, Pastor Catherine, what some of the people think about us in the city of Pontiac. And then I'll tell you who said it when I get through reading it. Real quick. Number 1, mayoral debate. Number 2, concert of colors. Number 3, ignorant local voters. Number 4, progressive petition drive. Number 5, Dr. King. Number 6, quiz. What's wrong with this picture? Pontiac Mayoral Debate Forum, Wednesday, July 23rd. They're talking about next week at the Crowford. This is, we shall have an aggressive moderator. Let me start it over. Wednesday, July 23rd, 5:30, 7:30, Crowford Ballroom, 1 South Saginaw Street, downtown Pontiac. This is where it's going to be held, the next debate. We should have an aggressive moderator to try to get answers instead of a run-on, meandering stories from the candidates. This event is produced by Men in Pontiac and sponsored by the Pontiac Greater Chamber of Commerce. We are looking for additional sponsors. My question, the reason I read that to the city of Pontiac, because I want you guys to hear. Did you hear what they called us? Ignorant local voters. They're having this debate on that day. So they're calling us ignorant. Now, they didn't mention color, but they said that we are ignorant. Pontiac, you're ignorant. Now, this is coming from the Chamber of Commerce, and this is from Mr. Blair McGowan. He sent that out to some people, and guess what? It got out, and Gloria got it. That's what they think of you, ignorant. Is it ignorant because maybe we're not picking the candidate that you want us to pick? What's going on? Are we going to have a class warfare here? I'm done. I'll come back later. That's right.
President McGinnis, that concludes public comment.
Just to clarify, the litigation that was dismissed was the Glenwood Plaza or Rubicon lawsuit against the city. That has been dismissed. The update we gave you is that Cypria has also approved the amendment to the settlement agreement for city's retirees. So the city's approved it and Cypria's approved it. It now goes to the judge to see will the federal judge approve the update to the 2018 settlement. That isn't the same as the dismissed case. I just want to make sure that's clear for everyone here and at home. But Pro Tem Carrington, I believe there's a written public comment as well.
Yes, we have one last public comment. This is pursuant to the Americans with Disability Act. This comment from Charles Blackwell. He states, I want the following public comment publicly read on my behalf at the July the 8th City Council meeting. Hello. Ever she was a crooked city council member who went to federal prison for accepting bribes while on council. It's an outright shame that the city council passed a resolution honoring him as if he was some honorable person. That concludes Mr. Charles Blackwell's public comment.
All right, we are now at recognition of elected officials. If there's any elected officials currently in a position who'd like to give an update on their role. I do want to acknowledge that we have our allies and neighbors at the School District of the City of Pontiac Board of Education, the Honorable Jennifer Dooley and the Honorable Tanisha Miller are also with us this evening. Give them a hand. And looks like she's ready to speak.
Greetings. I give you greetings from on behalf of the board. We are expecting to work in concert with City Council. So as you know, I'm newly elected as well as Trustee Miller. So as we transition into our new roles, we intend to try to bridge the gap between both the city and city and then the school district. So we welcome you guys to work hand in hand with us as we come to work to make our city better, both on the governmental level as well as in education. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other requests for recognition of elected officials? Hearing none, we're now at agenda address. Ann? Okay.
First, I give honor to God, who's the head of all our life, to this honorable body. As your new MDP at-large state precinct delegate, I am here to let you all know I have been upgraded and to be able to take care of the MDP at-large seat for our new MDP. And I thank you, and may God bless you. Let's get out and vote.
All right, we are now at agenda address. Pro Tem Carrington, and request to speak to items on this evening's agenda.
Yes, Dr. Deirdre Waterman, items A, D, and J.
If I may, I'll continue where I left off with item D because of the importance. And I had talked to you about the fact that number one, the loss to the city because of the development of this Glenwood Plaza that's been sitting so blighted, and as many people resent the loss of a grocery store, which we've been trying so hard to get for so long. So that's pitiful. But also, I did talk to you about the statements that were made, unquoted by our city attorney in the Detroit News article about someone who had, and I quoted the newspaper, Mr. Taylor, and he was of the Ahmad Taylor Pontiac Housing Authority chair. And the statement that I read you indicated that he had some vendetta against me, and shortly thereafter began hearing slanderous remarks, okay, in my name. And the business he was talking about, that he said that I was in his business. I will turn you first to the council agenda of November 16th, 2021. And this agenda, item number 2, was about the volunteer efforts to clean up condemned site occupied by tenants of landlord with blight violation history and management issue. This was a situation that I spoke for the residents. This was such a blighted condition by the landlord that there was actually sewage leaking into the Clinton River. It was so bad that the state, Eagle, got involved and was fining the site $25,000 a day. The site had also affected the tenants of the properties, and the tenants were afraid of being evicted because they had blown the whistle. And so I was alerted by Perry Ellis and Sean Preston, who had on their own volunteered to go over there and clean up the sewage in the site that was bothering the tenants. And they asked me to come over and take a look and to defend the tenants, and I will do that. I work by integrity and by honesty. And when I see somebody that is treated badly, and tenants, I will stand up for them and speak up for them. So the tenants had pointed the fact that Mr. Taylor's involvement in that, and because of the fact that I stood up for the tenants and brought that out, was the comment he was making about his vendetta for me. So that has been picked up. I want the patient people to understand. And if you hear some other slimy politicians, some others have picked that up, and I understand they're going sneaking around telling people the slander on my name. I want you to know the rest of the story. And one of the people who's repeating the slander is a candidate with green and white signs.
Thank you, Deidre Waterman. No, Mr. Chuck Johnson, I'm sorry, sir. I'm trying to figure out just what happened. But you gonna pass? Okay, thank you. Pastor Kathy Desiree, items? Yes. Okay. Mr. Carlton Jones.
Somebody left some glasses up here. Yeah. Buddy? You sure? Okay. Agenda address. In general, we have now started bouncing around when we're going to have meetings, when we don't have meetings, and it's now very confusing of lining up your schedule to know when we having meetings, where it is on the meetings and stuff. And I'm always believing that the council is the one that's controlling the agenda. Is that true? Somebody can answer that later. You know, the council is controlling the meeting and how it flows. I know they're posted, but it's not in a regular rhythm of what is it? We in between the two charters so we can do how we want to. We need to just make it good and clear, lay out when the meeting's going to be so we all can plan for the meetings properly and know when they're going to be. And sometimes when these long go in between and then you're having these marathon meetings, I just can't figure that out. We have marathon meetings, but then we wait 2 or 3 weeks before we have another meeting. I see no other cities like that. So we need to consider that. But there's no other cities be here at midnight and then wait 2 or 3 more weeks before they have another meeting. So item J up under the consent agenda. Multiple engineers being approved under the consent agenda. Workforce development, we need to be trying to get to make sure that these people coming here doing that kind of work, that we can get some engagement to say we can get young people understanding how to be engineers. I just don't know why we are thinking that right there is something our people in Pontiac don't need to be exposed to. Those are the best people to give some internships, opportunities for our young people to get into engineering. So I need to hear understanding why is this being passed along, talking about multiple engineers being approved for the city. These are outside people coming to get public money from here, and we just issue it out like nothing. We've been doing that all year. All these consultants issuing out no requirements to do any kind of give back of social equity. The next thing is social equity, the K that's on the agenda, and we're talking about social equity for one thing. Social equity is talking about justice and fairness, but just this one item talking about social equity. That's the marijuana issue. Well, why we can't get social equity across the board? Why is it that we don't think the social equity should be implemented every time we doing contracts? If we can do it here, why we can't do it in other areas? Council, that's the kind of legislation that you should require for administration, but it's not happening. And the last thing I need to find out, they talked about in there is talk about these speed humps. Has any evaluation came to say how effective that first round of speed humps were? Where they should be located, what we know. Seems like it was just located where anybody asked for them. I know engineering-wise, they should be done in certain stretches where we can slow traffic down. Sometimes that's not seem like not happening. So I just need a report of how you made evaluation of doing more speed humps. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Arlene Clark, what items?
Once again, go ahead. Good afternoon once again. Getting clarity for what Mr. Jones said. at the extent of the length of the agendas, that goes not only just 12, sometimes at 1 o'clock in the morning, decisions in your hand to try to go per week because of the long length of the agenda. And this is what the people want. They don't want to come, like he just said, 2 weeks in between. You're in an election year, and it's hurting your credibility as council. It really is. Now, talking about Mayor Grimel, though CEPR has come to a conclusion, to the people who was not in the voting in that room for the CEPR meeting, to the ones that's listening right now and the ones that's sitting in the audience, could you please give them clarity? Because at the last court date, it was dismissed by the city without prejudice, which means that the city has the right to come back before the court. Now, we do understand that you want the court's approval, but please give them a better and a more clearer understanding of going before the court. The people do want to know this. Now, let's talk about the $12 million for Pontiac Central. Deputy Kafani gave a very, let me tell you, at that meeting, he was very patient. Oh, God, he was. He was very patient, and thank you for that meeting for the 300 Huron Street, the old Pontiac Central. But then he also made a comment that a roof would be needed in 3 to 4 years.
Ms. Clark, I got to stop you. If we could have side comments go to the exterior of the chambers. Ms. Clark has the floor.
Go ahead. Go.
All right, I'll stop again.
You want me to go ahead?
If you can.
Oh, okay.
And only you.
So since the purchase agreement has already been made for the deposit, and I know in the purchase agreement terms are put into those agreements, yes, they can look on the website to see what the purchase agreement consists of. But for those who do not go on the website, could you publicly explain to them in 3 to 4 years, a roof will be made for that 300 here on the old Pontiac Central building. And it's hard for me to say 300 because I know it's Pontiac Central to me. A roof would be needed. Help the people to understand it could not have not been part of the negotiation for the purchase agreement from the terms. If you negotiated for $12 million, even if you negotiated for $11 million, which is quite a bit of money, there's so many conditions in that building that needs to be taken care of. Pontiac Central was closed for a certain reason. It wasn't just for the pool, it's for the electricity, for the grounds, for everything. Air conditioner, you name it. The school was in bad shape for a new building. And if they're willing to give that building up for $12 million, wouldn't you imagine that they did not attend to all the issues that come with it? Because I'm quite sure it's just not a roof. Especially at the time that it was built, it needs to have updates. So please give clarity on the GERS court and also on the Pontiac Central building.
Thank you, Ms. Clark. Ms. Miller, what items?
Again, hello, Pontiac. I'm speaking to the GERS members out there. I'm trying to break it down for you guys because, see, it's political season. It's politics. Can't say that about me. I've been coming down here ever since I left the office. So you can't use that one on me. With that being said, okay, now we got everything settled away. Chief and them did what they need to do today. Basically what Darlene Clark, and I always tell her, I like to just, I'm East Side, I just break it down for everyone. We starting back over again. If you go, and we're talking about without prejudice, that meant that even in any case, that means that he can always, or whoever get in office, because this got to be handled. And I have said this to Mr. McGinnis to his face, and I have said this, I'm going to say it publicly. I'm not going to play politics with this. Will we get this money before November? First of all, will we get this money before August? Now, if we're going back to court, let's just say we're going to go back to court. That's probably going to take some months. I think you would agree, Mr. McGinnis. It's going to take some time. So would you say that they're going to receive this money before anyone makes that office in November for mayor? Second of all, I want to also mention to the GERS members out there, they're always calling me and asking me this. I want to say this to them as well. Nothing is set in stone as of right now. I want to be happy, but I'm like this. You play me once, shame on you. Play me twice, You done played me 5-6 times up here with this girls. And so that's why I tell all the girls, man, be optimistic but cautious, because this is political season. This got to go back before the court. We're starting over from, you can correct me, Mr. McGinnis, because I'll probably be at home looking at you from home. This starting all over again. This could go on for maybe actually for a couple years, a year or two. We don't know when it's going to be settled, do we? We don't have no idea. Explain that to the girls, man. They should know that, because they're looking for something in the next month, 2 months, and that ain't going to happen. And just answer those questions for me, and I appreciate it. As for L, I do see that the council meeting is on the 29th. This is messed up. What is going on with the charter? What's going on? Mr. Clerk, July 20th. Explain this to me, because I'm not understanding. Why is the meeting so far apart from each other? You don't know what to do. You don't know. I don't think people look at it anymore because they don't know when it's coming on and when it's not. Why are the meetings so straddled? 1, then 3 weeks, and then why can't it be every other week? Or is that the way the charter got it? People asking me to explain this. This is messed up. This council meeting, I've never seen it so disarrayed in my life. In all the years I've been coming down here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. That concludes agenda address. President McGinnis.
Thank you, Pro Tem Carrington. I do want to answer that question, just strike while the iron is hot. The citizens approved a new charter last summer, and that is in effect. And that charter previously for 40-plus years said there must be a meeting each week. So for 4 decades we were used to. Now they switched up sometimes what was the focus of the meeting. Sometimes they were study sessions. It evolved over the decades, but there was guaranteed, because the charter mandated it, whether it was 4th of July or Christmas week or Thanksgiving week, there had to be a meeting each week because the charter mandated it. The new charter that currently governs us, because the citizens said so, says that there must be at least 2 a month. So the minimum is 2 per month. The City Council does set that calendar, just like they set it when it was each week. For a few years, I remember when I was younger coming here, they were Thursdays. Then obviously it still is, and it has been for a number of years, Tuesdays. So those are set and can be changed by a vote of City Council. In last December, the year's calendar was set, and from time to time, more meetings have been added when the need arises. But there's a minimum of 2 meetings a month. Some months have 3 meetings. And so we'll work to try and, in the coming weeks, make it clear as much as possible what are the remaining dates of the year. We want to make it easy for you. You can also see it at pontiac.mi.us. It's posted in the main floor of City Hall. We want to make it easy, so we'll try and get it on here as well, rather than just what's the immediate next meeting. But it's this and future city councils can change the frequency. This is our first year, truly, of having this new charter. We can have more than the minimum of 2. And if the future city council finds that they need to have a higher volume, that's what the citizens want, that's what the workload requires, that is an option. I just want to explain that's what we've got so far. But the next regular city council meeting is July 29th at 6 p.m. That's the one following tonight, which is July 8th. All right, we are at ordinances. Number 1 on the agenda. Is there a motion for adoption of an ordinance to approve that ordinance amendment?
So moved.
It was moved by Councilman Jones and it was supported by Councilman Parker. This would amend Appendix B of the Municipal Code of the City of Pontiac, amending Article 2, Section 2.103 zoning map to change the zoning classifications for one specific parcel on the north side of Columbia Avenue between Baldwin Avenue and Carlisle Street, subject to the agreed upon conditions for 124 West Columbia Avenue. You may know this as New Birth International Church, and historically before that, it was the Boys and Girls Club on Columbia. So we give the floor to the administration. This is our second reading. So it came before us at the last City Council meeting on June 24th, and before that for public hearing and approval at the Planning Commission. Mayor Greimel and administration.
Thank you. I know we talked extensively about this at the last City Council meeting, so I don't want to belabor it, but this would allow this location to operate for a limited number of months each year with special permissions and special guardrails as a warming shelter for those who are in need of space to stay during cold winter months. And with that, I want to invite our planning person and attorney to the podium to talk about this in greater detail and shed some additional light on any particularly important details that they believe are important to reiterate following last city council meeting.
Good evening. Just following up what the mayor said, yeah, this is a request from New Birth International Baptist Church, or I'm sorry, New Birth International Church to rezone their existing church facility from an R1 to a R2 district. I have a PowerPoint ready if you wish to see it.
If you want, if nothing else, get to the slide that shows the aerial parcels, so that way the public can be reacquainted with where we're talking about.
Sure. The parcel that's outlined in, let's say, blue right there in the middle of the screen, that would be the parcel in question. That's the church site. Roughly, it's, again, an existing church, and what the church wants to do is establish a community service facility, roughly a warming shelter, as an addition to the principal use, that being the church. There's conditions of approval also. This is a picture of the church from Columbia Street. And I can go over the overview and background if you wish, or I can just move to the motions.
You can move forward, but
Okay.
if you want to emphasize what those conditions are, since that would be unique
Sure.
to the request.
So there's 3 conditions of approval. First one, operation of a community service facility, warming shelter, may only take place inside the existing church building with approved special exemption use and temporary use permit. Number 2, any future approval for a community service facility warming shelter may only occur if it's an accessory use to an approved and operating principal use, that being religious institution. And number 3, the applicant shall provide the city with a plan to mitigate any loitering on the facility's grounds and on West Columbia Street. So those are the 3 conditions that the applicant provided to the city. And again, this is a R1 district, so these are the various types of uses that can establish there, both permitted by right as well as special exemption. These are the, again, the permitted by right in an R2, as well as a permitted with approval. And you can see that a community service facility is highlighted there. These are the basic standards of approval that you're all aware of. And roughly, this is our analysis. So just in a nutshell, the approval of this rezoning will not be a deviation from the master plan, with its focus on residential neighborhood development. Under the current zoning designation, the parcel is permitted to be used for single-family residences and institutional type uses, that being a church. The applicant worked with city staff to determine the appropriate zoning district for the proposed community service facility as an accessory use to the primary use, that being the church. And roughly went to Planning Commission. It was 6-0 for approval of recommendations to City Council. And again, this is the second reading at City Council. So that more or less concludes my presentation.
Okay, that motion is before us. I want to just go down the line to see if there's any questions or discussion from City Council members. Councilwoman Rutherford.
Yes, 2 questions. One's going to be to the administration, and then the second one is going to be to him. So the first question is to the administration. In December of last year, 2024, we allocated $160,000 for the Church First Presbyterian. We couldn't give it to them because you guys did not want it to be zoned correctly. Now that we are rezoning the church, where we're doing a warming center into an R3, will the administration have any hesitation as rewarding or repurposing the $160,000 that we put forth for us to be able to help with the warming center? We know that it is needed and it is necessary. We know that several of us used council funds to help facilitate that. So that's my first question to the administration. I yield it to the administration.
Mayor or Deputy Mayor? Question about repurposing those ARPA placemaking dollars.
Yeah, I do just want to set the record straight. The issue with the church last winter was that it wasn't zoned correctly. So it's not about whether we wanted it zoned correctly. We did actually want to make sure that locations were zoned properly for their intended use. So it's actually the opposite of not wanting it to be zoned correctly. We wanted to make sure that facilities are zoned correctly and are used in accordance with their proper zoning. In terms of reallocating the funds, yes, we need to reallocate the funds. And so I think we want to be mindful that we need to do that in compliance with the law in terms of an application process. But yes, we're aware of the fact that we'll need to reallocate those funds, and we want to work with our city attorney to ensure that that's done in a competitive process that complies with federal ARPA regulations as well as the state constitution and state law.
Okay, so.
Your next question?
Yeah, and then I'm gonna say something. So timeline on once we do this approval, what's the next step for the organization to make sure this is done properly?
Sure. If City Council rather approves the request, then the community service facility then will go in front of City Planning Commission for a special exemption hearing and then decision.
Okay, so I'm asking that because it was a zoning issue. We tomato, we can try to be subject semantics. I just want to make sure that it's not slowed down and that no other issue is going to come awry. So that's why I asked that question. I'll hold my comment to when
I understand. Yeah, roughly, we'll just wait for an application from the applicant. And yeah, we have a new planner on staff, so he'll be reviewing that as well as putting together the pre-app meeting and all the other fun stuff that we generally do in line to have the use.
Well, thank you for your honesty. I'm done.
Thank you. Councilwoman Jones?
Thank you very much. Excuse me. First, before I ask my question, want to say that this is great news to me. This is great that this is on the agenda because I feel that this contributes to the broader goal of the city initiating an emergency plan, which was actually listed in our top priorities for 2025. So I believe that this rezoning is necessary, and I'm grateful to the lead of the church for being willing to allow this and allow those operations. But my question, now that I've gotten the good news out of the way, my question is, I don't know if that you can answer this, but approximately how many people can the space, used as the warming shelter accommodate?
I don't like to guess, but as I'm recalling, roughly 20 to 30 people.
Okay.
And I think it's more on the mid-20s, but that's a recollection on my part, okay?
Bishop Lee did answer that question, I think, at the Planning Commission before, and I don't want to misquote, but it was a few dozen.
Okay. Thank you very much. That helps with envisioning this.
Councilman Goodman? Good? I did. Councilman Parker?
Thank you, Brother President. I forget your name, sir.
Sure, it's Paul Harang.
Thank you. You had mentioned that after, if we vote to approve it today, it goes back to planning to do what again?
Sure. To establish the community service facility, the applicant will have to come back and apply for a special exemption type use to establish that use at the residential facility.
Is that a long?
I'm sorry, at the church facility rather. No, it's not a long process. It's generally a pre-app meeting. Then the following month, then we put it in front of Planning Commission, and there is a hearing that occurs at that point in time. It's not a very long process.
And just so everybody knows why I'm asking that question, because I know it's already mid-July. And so as we move forward, we want to make sure that what the city went through last year, it does not go through this year, which requires some pre-planning. And there's some coordination that needs to be made between some other entities that are also assisting with this process and make sure that it's ready to go by the time it gets cold, as opposed to doing what we had to do last year, which was an emergency thing. So I'm just asking to make sure that all the ducks are lined up, all the things are in a row, and that by the time November, December rolls around, it's set up, it's ready, it could be implemented, and it will also become a part of the city's emergency plan, I believe they've been working on, that people will know where it's going to be, what the address is, all the details about the warming center. So that's why I was asking that question, because it needs to be included so that as we go forward, we don't wait till the last minute to say, we're trying to provide a warming center in this location. We should be able, like all the other residents and cities do, broadcast it over the news. If you in Pontiac, this is where you go. So that's why I'm asking that question.
Yeah, roughly when the hearing is over, we're going to contact the church and indicate that whatever the decision is, if it's in favor, then of course we're going to say you can apply for the special exemption type use, and we'll wait for the church to come in and actually provide that document to us, and we'll have a pre-app meeting and so forth. So, it's well, what you said, ducks in a line, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Pro Tem Carrington, any questions? No. Okay. And to emphasize on behalf of the City Council, I want to thank New Birth International Church for their perseverance in working through. The state of Michigan, with their zoning and enabling legislation, puts a lot of these requirements in place. So it's not about trying to make it difficult. It's about us trying to be compliant, so that way, for property rights' sake, for the surrounding property parcel ownership's sake, that we have done it in a way that is solid and airtight. Attorney Castro, is there anything else the City Council needs to know as we make our determination? And I just want to flag, should this be adopted, I will look to next then take up that approving the conditional rezoning agreement, which is related in tandem because this is a conditional rezoning request. Attorney Castro, anything else we need to know?
Not much further, other than to Council Parker and Ms. Jones's comments about the timing. I believe 4 months would be plenty of time for Planning Commission to make their decision about the special exemption permit. And then it's also mentioned in one of the conditions, the temporary use permit. Also, I expect to go expeditiously, but there is a provision I know in the temporary use permit application process that allows for expeditious processing of their application, because as indicated, this is a shelter that's only activated certain times of the year. I believe it's kind of anticipated, November through March, but, global climate disruption might shift the timing of when it gets cold during the year. So if it gets, colder, say early September, God forbid, there will be a way, at least I know on the temporary use permit side, that there is an expeditious application process if, temperatures decide to drop overnight. So between at least July and November, 4 months should be plenty of time for the applicant to come to Planning Commission and get their special exemption application submitted and then decided upon. But nothing other than that.
Councilman Rutherford?
Call for the vote.
Speakers list having been exhausted, we move now into roll call vote. This is adoption of an ordinance amending the municipal code for changing the zoning classifications for the one parcel on the north side of Columbia Avenue between Baldwin and Carlisle, subject to the agreed upon conditions, and that's at 124 West Columbia Avenue. Roll call, Clerk Doyle.
McGinnis?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Rutherford?
Absolutely yes.
Carrington?
Yes.
Goodman?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
6 yeas, no nays.
That motion carries. The ordinance is amended, and the zoning, its conditional rezoning has been changed for 124 North Columbia Avenue. Could I now please have a motion to suspend the rules to take up what is number 7 on the agenda, the resolution approving the conditional rezoning agreement to the...
I make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Rutherford, seconded by Councilman Parker, that we suspend the rules to move an item on the agenda. Because this is related directly to that conditional rezoning, we'd want to take up the resolution to approve the conditional rezoning agreement between the city and New Birth International Church regarding 124 West Columbia, and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement. Any discussion on that suspension of the rules proposal? Hearing none, roll call, Clerk Doyle.
Parker?
Yes.
Rutherford?
Yes.
Carrington?
Yes.
Goodman?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
McGinnis?
Yes.
6 yeas, no nays.
That motion carries. The rules are suspended for this specific purpose. Is there now a motion to adopt the resolution? Is there a second? It's been moved by Councilman Rutherford, seconded by Councilman Jones, to adopt that resolution approving the conditional rezoning agreement for 124 West Columbia. This essentially just codifies those conditions that the applicant has offered up and allows it to move forward. Any final discussion?
Yes, I just want to publicly thank all the organizations that came together and actually walked the walk and talked the talk and actually service these people. You never know what a person is going through until you watch a mother homeless in the middle of the winter, 2 degrees, and you guys should know, even to the administration, I know I gave y'all a hard time, but I thank you guys for seeing it our way and making sure that people are put first and not politics. So that's all I got.
Any other discussion on the motion to adopt the resolution? Hearing none, roll call on adoption. Clerk Doyle.
Rutherford?
Yes.
Carrington?
Yes.
Goodman?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
McGinnis?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
6 yeas, no nays.
That motion carries. The resolution is adopted. We'll resume regular order on the agenda. Number 2 on the agenda, it's another ordinance amendment. This is for 1584 Perry Street. Is there a motion to adopt?
Moved.
Is there a second? It's been moved by Councilman Rutherford, seconded by Councilman Parker. This is amending Appendix B of the Municipal Code of the City of Pontiac, amending Article 2, Section 2.103, the zoning map, to change the zoning classifications for one specific parcel on the south side of Perry Street between Pontiac Road and Giddings Road from one-family dwelling R1 to corridor commercial C3 for 1584 Perry Street. This is the second reading. It's been before us before, and it was before the Planning Commission for recommended approval as well as a public hearing. Mayor and Administration, you have the floor for a second reading review.
Thank you. This is a rezoning to facilitate the relocation of a Contour Windows facility that will manufacture windows from Auburn Hills to Pontiac. So this is another great example of us earning investment that would otherwise go to other communities to create more jobs here in Pontiac. A lot of Pontiac residents already work at the existing facility in Auburn Hills. But by relocating that facility here, the city of Pontiac will receive more tax revenue from the facility. Oh, and by the way, it will actually expand its operations and almost double the number of total jobs there. So we're excited, A, to get this business relocated into Pontiac, but B, to actually get its operations expanded and facilitate that so that more jobs will be created and there'll be more job opportunities for our residents. I want to thank Contour Windows for their investment in Pontiac. I want to thank them for employing so many Pontiac residents, and we're thrilled about this opportunity to actually expand Contour Windows operations right here in our community.
All right.
And with that, I want to invite our team up to talk about the rezoning in greater detail.
Mr. Herring, take it away.
Good evening. So this, again, is the rezoning for Contour Windows. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go straight to the maps that the applicant provided so I can sort of explain that a bit. So now this is the parcel in question. This is 1584 Perry Street. Right now it's a residential dwelling on the site. C3 district, and as you can see, the R1 district is that small little square surrounded by the C3 off of Perry Street. And various pictures. This is a dwelling in question. This is 1584 Perry Street. So now this was the concept plan which the city approved back in 2024. As you can see, the Contour Windows is, let me try to find a. All right, so again, this is a 2024 approved site plan. So this is the actual proposed building right here. And this is the parcel in question. As you can see, the building itself is pushed back a little bit from the parcel. And then this is now the site plan that was in front of Planning Commission, which was approved and recommended to the City Council. So this is the parcel in question. So what's going to happen is the whole building's going to move up towards Perry Street. So a portion of the building and parking lot are now going to encompass 1584 Perry Street. Those are the changes based on the approved site plan back in 2024. And now the site plan that's in front of you right now. And roughly, the applicant, again, purchased the continuous parcel back in 2024 without 1584 within that purchase. Roughly a few months ago, the applicant then purchased 1584, and that's why you're seeing this in front of you, so that the parcel can be rezoned from R1 to C3, and the facility and parking lot can occupy a portion of that parcel. And I will just go over a few points of standards of approval. Analysis based on the master plan, the parcel designated neighborhood commercial, And the current zoning district is C3 abutting the subject parcel, so roughly around the entire parcel. And light manufacturing use is compatible with the proposed zoning district. The revised preliminary site plan indicates that the parcel and other abutting parcels are proposed to be developed with a future window fabricating building and its parking lots. And the C3 zoning would be adjacent to the existing C3 parcels to the south, east, and west. And went to the Planning Commission. It was approved 6-0, and now it's in front of City Council for your second reading.
Thank you. Would a representative from Contour Windows like to elaborate anything further?
Sure. Scott Kalinowski, so I'm asset manager here at Contour Companies. This is a very exciting project for us. One thing that he had omitted from his statement before is the original project was also back into some wetlands. So by acquiring this new piece of property at 1584, we were able to move the building up front and navigate completely out of the way. We won't be within the wetlands or any type of prohibitive type of spot to be building at. And as he said, this will be expanding our plant. We'll be offering some new products and features as well. So as we said, there will be new jobs coming and an additional capability of us to continue to grow. And we're very excited to be here and part of Pontiac and the revitalization and continuation of everything going on. So thank you guys for your time. Happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Thank you, and thank you for choosing Pontiac. I'll give the floor first to Councilman Parker if he has anything further. It's located in District 5 that the councilman represents. Representatives from Contour over the years have been to the district meetings, answered the questions, and have, in the previous approvals, because this is a specific parcel, in the previous approvals built in ample buffering between the residents of Galloway Lake Estates, as well as very thoughtful design between the property and the city's Galloway Lake Park. So those are really important, and that was previously addressed, but if any resident has questions about that or didn't catch it before, you can reach out to Councilman Parker or the City Council offices. Councilman, any questions or comments?
Just a few comments. First, I want to thank you for your continued diligence and dedication to getting this project moved forward, because I recall it was originally thought about in, I believe, 2018, and some revisions had to be made, and yet you kept doing it. You could have kept it in Auburn Hills, but decided to move it here. I want to thank you for the jobs and the other things that it brings to the city. Secondly, I want to thank you for having some town halls and meetings with the residents of that area who approved this process. And thirdly, I want to thank you for your continued desire to want to make Pontiac a better place and bringing your business to Pontiac, which offer jobs and a better salary and better way of living for the residents of Pontiac. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Jones?
Thank you very much. To echo Councilman Pastor Parker over here, thank you for your due diligence and going to the community meetings and for showing up here today, because it's always refreshing when owners and developers, take an interest in the community that they are opening or expanding, in this case, business in. And I just hope and encourage additional Pontiac residents to obtain these jobs, and also encourage the residents to stay tuned for these upcoming jobs that will be opening and apply.
Yeah, we're hoping quick here. Yeah.
Thank you.
Councilman Rutherford.
Good evening.
How are you?
How are you? Slow and steady wins the race. 2 questions. First question, what is the timeline when these jobs will be offered? Number 2, what is the website so that people at home and people abroad can have that information so they can get their resumes ready to get this job?
So Contour Companies is the main holding company, so contourcompanies.com, and then contourwindows.com would be the secondary website.
You gotta slow down, say that again.
Contour Windows Factory, all one. Would be the secondary website for the Windows Factory directly. Upon approval, we're kind of full head of steam right now, playing everything in the background. So we would hope to start construction on the entire project late this fall, pending everything else. So we would hope that throughout this entire project that, we're open and kicking away at the end of next year at the latest.
And my follow-up is, what's the starting pay for these positions that you're offering?
I do not know that on the top of my head here right now.
But you can get that information to us?
Yeah, we could get that information.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Any final discussion? So if you want to go, Paul, if you're able to click away to show the aerial of the parcels in question, the surrounding Footprint is already C3. This is dealing with this holdout resident that residential property that is sold and would no longer kind of be this outlier in the surrounding area. So just want to make sure everyone's clear and visual on what we're talking about here for 1584 Perry Street. This is a rezoning proposal from R1 to C3 corridor commercial. Any final discussion? Hearing none, roll call on adoption of the ordinance amendment for the zoning classification. Clerk Doyle.
Carrington,
Yes.
Goodman,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Rutherford.
Yes.
6 yeas, no nays.
That motion carries. The ordinance is adopted and the property has been rezoned. We're at number 3, adoption of an ordinance to amend the zoning code, Chapter 1, Article 5, Chapter 1, signs in its entirety to allow conversion of existing billboards to electronic billboards under certain circumstances, and to impose regulations of such billboards, and amend the zoning code, Article 7, Chapter 5, sign definitions in its entirety to clarify amendments to regulate billboards, and revise definitions of billboard and reader board, and add the definition of billboard, electronic. Is there a motion to adopt? Is there a second? It's been moved by Councilwoman Jones, seconded by Councilman Parker. The administration has the floor. This is our second reading, in addition to it having been before Planning Commission, obtaining a recommended approval, and a public hearing being conducted. Mayor Grimel.
So this proposed change to city ordinance stems from a recent agreement the city council approved, I think at the last city council meeting, with a specific billboard company. And that agreement allows that billboard company to transform an existing traditional billboard to an electric billboard, meaning a digital billboard, in exchange for that company removing 5 other billboards. So it's a great opportunity for us to eliminate or at least reduce blight in the community as represented by billboards. And in today's world, the city, and this has been the case for decades, has not allowed the proliferation of billboards. But there was a time when the city, like many cities, didn't regulate billboards, and that's why we have so many billboards throughout Pontiac in a way that one doesn't see in many surrounding communities. And so we were able to say to this billboard company that wanted to convert a billboard on M59 to a digital billboard, we'll let you convert that one to a digital billboard if you remove 5 others. So it reduces the blight that is represented by billboards in the community. This would put that formula into actual zoning ordinance for the city so that we have that blueprint in the future if other companies also want to convert billboards to digital, that they can do so if they remove 5 other billboards. It also helps ensure that companies can't accuse us of treating one company one way and other companies another way. And so this really mirrors in city ordinance the same formula that we used for this agreement with this other billboard company. And with that, I'll turn it over to the attorney to walk us through any additional details.
Thank you, Mayor Grimel. As Mayor mentioned, this is spurred because of this one group who owns several billboards in the city, and they have one billboard specifically blocking the Clinton River Trail where the city explored eminent domain, but then ultimately agreed to come to an agreement with this billboard owner to, again, remove 5 billboards under their ownership and control in exchange for converting one of their billboards to digital. And this is basically saying what I just said, and then also the ordinance, again, is outdated, and it does define what illuminated billboards are, but that could arguably cover, just based on how the definition reads today, electronic billboards. So to tighten up some of the language in the ordinance, the sign ordinance related to billboards, these changes were proposed. The biggest thing, as the mayor mentioned, is that applicants who wish to convert a billboard to electronic digital format must remove 5, demolish and show proof that they've demolished 5 under their control before that 6th billboard could be eligible for conversion to electronic. Additionally, any other applicants that come forward to do that transition from a traditional billboard to an electronic billboard must bring any other billboards under their control into conformance with the city's compliance and maintenance standards regarding setbacks, structural, and they cannot do anything to their existing billboard that they are attempting to convert to enlarge the surface area other than just bringing it up to code. This is just a little bit of the process, how it could work when an applicant comes to the city to convert one of their billboards. The permit to convert their billboard would be valid for 3 years. They would have to show proof of compliance to the city that they have demolished 5 and brought any others under their control up to code and standards as they currently exist in the zoning ordinance. And then again, if they are denied at the city level, they can appeal that decision to the city ZBA. These are just some standards, and I apologize that first subsection hadn't been updated since the last meeting, but across the board in the ordinance, the proposed ordinance in front of you, the digital billboard time durations for their messages are 15 seconds and not 10 there. And so it just says, again, static frame. So the displays must show for 15 seconds before it transitions, and they must change every 15 seconds. So it'll remain on the screen for 15 seconds, and then it'll change every 15 seconds. There's prohibitions against animation or motion that would be distracting for drivers and annoying to anybody in the community that these might be located. And again, they can only be located in M1 and M2 districts as the ordinance reads today. And then again, these are just these regulatory compliance standards are for safety and effectiveness of the billboards, kind of balancing protection of residents and the need to have, or the desire for these applicants to have electronic billboards. Other standards is that they must be shielded to prevent glare onto adjacent properties if they are going to be near roads or residential homes. And then there's a brightness limit of 0.3 foot candles near residential areas and 1 foot candle for non-residential areas. Additionally, while we were in the section of the sign ordinance looking to make some more just tighter guidelines, not strictly related to electronic billboards, reader board messages, that time frame has been extended from 12 to 15 seconds. So again, any display, whether it be reader board or billboard in the city, will now be required to have its message on the screen for 15 seconds, just for consistency. And then non-electric sign illumination, we also want to clarify that any billboard that is not internally illuminated or digital can only now have external illumination methods. So has to have a light shown on a billboard. It can't have any internal illumination unless it is one of these digital billboards that is being applied for by an applicant. And this is just a quick overview of the process. Planning Commission will review it via special exemption permit, and then they will have to notify property owners at least 15 days before the Planning Commission hearing. That would be the applicant would have to notify property owners. And this, just for your recollection, 2 weeks ago was a motion that Council passed that amended some of the language in the ordinance to just clarify again that the 5 billboards must be removed, and it would be the 6th that an applicant would be converting into electronic. There was some slight potential ambiguity where they could have maybe be read to say 4 be demolished and the 5th would be the one, but the language that Council passed that is in the ordinance in front of you just kind of clarifies that. And then again, this already went through Planning Commission and it was recommended for approval 6-0. Oh, and then lastly, I failed to mention, but there was also additional definitions, as President McGinnis mentioned in the second reading resolution, just clarifying and adding the definition of electronic billboard and slightly amending some of the definitions related to signs, again, just for clarity and just tighter language in definitional section.
Okay, discussion from council members. Does anyone have any questions or discussions? Councilman Jones.
Okay, I was trying to find it. I thought I would find it by the time you stopped talking. What is the exact distance? So, for example, if someone wants to put up a billboard, they have to remove 5. 5 in the area of where they are placing this billboard, or they have to comb through the city and find 5?
They would have to find 5 under their control anywhere within the city. There's not a specific guideline that it has to be anywhere near where they're attempting to convert the 6th.
Okay, follow-up question then. The billboard, which not for you, I'm sorry, for the administration, the billboard company who wanted to put up the electric billboard, and we implemented the 5, and then the 6 would be the billboard. Did they agree to those terms? Okay, because I don't operate billboards, and it just sounds like a lot to go through. And I just wanted to understand the process, where we're looking for these billboards, and then in the event that we get to the point where all of the city's billboards are digital.
Mm-hmm. So the threshold is 5 to be demolished, which some companies might not meet. They only maybe have 1 under their ownership and control. So this ordinance is not meant to attract billboard developers or people wishing to convert billboards. The threshold is pretty high for them, in my opinion, to meet, to have 5 under their ownership and control within the city. And then as well, they would have to bring a step further than what the previous agreement that had been approved is. They would have to bring any additional billboards under their control beyond the 5 that they're demolishing up to code and compliance standards. So it is a kind of a very high threshold to meet, which I can't say who owns what billboards in the city. I mean, maybe it's 1-to-1, maybe they have multiple, but demolishing 5 in exchange for the 1, we believe, after reviewing the planning commission, that would kind of be a very high threshold to meet. So this very well may be the only one in the city that ever comes. Maybe some billboard companies get together and sell off one another or something, but I don't anticipate it. And staff in planning didn't really anticipate it being that would be the case, that you would see several digital billboards throughout the city.
I understand. I don't know that I like that. We are essentially making the digital billboards unattractive in the city of Pontiac, and we're going to keep the antiquated billboards around because this threshold is so high.
Right, but again, to ensure fair treatment for any other applicants that wish to come forward and potentially do this, and having already done it for one in the past, this protects the city from any, potentially frivolous litigation to say you treated this one company and applicant very differently than how you're treating me now. So in order to codify that consistency, and I don't like using the word fair, but fairness in applications for electronic billboards, this codifies that to ensure that that specific group wasn't treated any more special than any other future group would be.
I understand the equity, aspect of this, and the applicant did agree to it, so I'll just leave it at that.
Mayor Greimel.
Yeah, I understand your I think I understand your concern, Councilwoman, that if the trade-off is too high of a ratio, then we might not get reductions in traditional billboards because there won't be an economic incentive for companies to do the trade-off. I don't think that's likely to be the case because digital billboards are vastly more profitable for billboard companies, and they're vastly more profitable for a couple of reasons. One is they generate a lot more revenue because the digital faces change so they can have lots of advertisers on one billboard, whereas a traditional billboard, because it's painted on or is some sort of a fixed sign, it's just that one advertiser for a period of months. And the other reason why they're vastly more profitable is with a digital billboard, you just transmit that digital art to that location remotely. Whereas with a traditional billboard, you have to go out and actually put up the face. So there's both more revenue with the digital billboard and much less cost with a digital billboard. As a result, they're far more profitable, which means that even this higher threshold, even this higher ratio, is still very profitable for them as they seek to convert to digital. The other thing I would note is that this company thought it made sense and was in fact a sensible move for them in terms of the profitability calculation. And so I think that I understand your concern, but at the same time, I think we're going to see more companies do this trade-off because of just how profitable digital billboards are. And the other thing that came up, at least by implication, is do companies have enough billboards to do this trade-off? And the answer is yes, because it's just a couple of billboard companies that own the vast majority of billboards in Pontiac. It is not a very competitive market, and so there are just a couple of major billboard players in Southeast Michigan that own the vast majority of billboard locations.
Attorney Castro, can you go back to the slide that shows the amendment that was previously adopted by the City Council? So it's 5.105 subsection G, 12, and B. So that's under conversion conditions, is that right? So I just want to confirm that the version that we have before us is already, the text has already been incorporated, those amendments.
Let me get there, 515G.
I see that the 5 is bolded. I just want to make sure that confirms that you've already incorporated the amendment, or if we have to adopt further.
This is what you have in front of you that's in the packet is the language that has subsequently been amended.
All right, looks like I can visually confirm that as well. I just want to finally say, I do not want to see a flooding of electronic billboards in our city. So I'm glad that the threshold is high. I think it would be very intense, especially depending on where billboards are located. We were very methodical about the M5191 to make sure it didn't impact residences, that it wasn't flooding a neighborhood or houses with light. And that's really important. And I think that this is a good ordinance change in part because it cleans up all the ambiguity with the phrase illuminated, where someone might be able to try and say, hey, your ordinance, your outdated ordinance says illuminated, and I'm saying that's because I should have the right to digitize my existing billboard, which might be right at Osmond and Woodward. So blaring in people's homes or blaring in people's eyes as they're driving down thoroughfares. We all can think of where there's billboards. I know there's a few on Auburn, there's a few on my side of town. I'm sure everyone can, if you think about it, where there's billboards dotted throughout our city. I'm grateful that we'll see a reduction in some because of the recent approval of City Council, and my understanding that includes some on our east side neighborhoods, that will have less traditional billboards because of this essentially 6-to-1 conversion that's happened. A procedural question, Mayor and Deputy Mayor, has that agreement with Outfront Media been executed?
I believe it has, but I've been signing a lot of agreements approved by City Council lately.
Adoption, Clerk Doyle.
Goodman,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Rutherford,
No.
Carrington.
Yes.
5 yeas, 1 nay.
That motion carries. The ordinance is amended. We're at number 4. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution approving?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Support.
It's been moved by Councilman Rutherford, seconded by Councilman Parker. It's a resolution approving the Oakland County Historical Society charitable gaming license. The clerk's office facilitates these requests. It's for nonprofit organizations that are located in, this is their home city, so we've approved these before. Usually we would do this in the consent agenda because it's routine, but because this is an organization in which I am the executive director and had been for 6 years, out of an abundance of caution, even though I am on leave and not taking any compensation from this organization, I will be choosing to abstain just out of an abundance of distinction. So that's why I had it pulled out of the consent agenda so it can be voted on directly. Councilman Rutherford.
Well, I'm excited because, you know, I go up there. It's a great experience. We're going to have some games and funds and prizes, and it gives them an opportunity to earn income for an organization that is so much needed and necessary. We must know our history, the good, the bad, and the indifferent. So I say let it roll. That's it.
Any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, roll call on adoption of the resolution. Clerk Doyle.
Jones,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Abstain.
Parker,
Yes.
Rutherford,
Yes.
Carrington,
Yes.
Goodman.
Yes.
5 yeas, One
Your
abstention.
abstain was strong, sir. I like that.
With a capital A.
Yes.
That motion carries. The resolution is adopted. We're at number 5, a public hearing on community development, often known as Community Development Block Grant.
I make the motion.
No motion to be had.
Okay,
It's public
let's go.
hearing time. But I'll give you the first crack at it at the
Yes.
resolution that follows.
Come on.
Mayor and Administration, you have the
Housing.
floor to queue up and for us to give a little information before we'll hold a public hearing on the 2025 action plan. One of the many accomplishments of your city of Pontiac in the last 2 years is that we have brought CDBG funding administration back to the city of Pontiac.
Can you say that again?
Well, I'll let them say it. I said it once, that's enough.
Yeah,
Mayor
so-
Grimal.
Well, thank you. Yeah, so what President McGinnis is saying, I'll say it again, Councilwoman, if that makes you feel good.
Yes.
We have brought the administration of community development block grant dollars back in-house at the city of Pontiac after the emergency manager outsourced that to Oakland County, which created a number of problems in terms of the city ultimately getting less funding and truly having less direct control over how those funds were spent as well. So we brought that back in-house. I want to acknowledge our grants team for making that happen. And we are joined by members of our grants team, both our grants director, Lisa Campbell, as well as our CDBG manager. I'm not sure of the formal title, forgive me, Tuesday. But our CDBG guru, I will call her, Tuesday Redmond, who once upon a time did this work for the city and then went off and did it in a number of other communities and is widely recognized as one of the foremost Michigan experts when it comes to CDBG administration, and we're very, very pleased to have her back here at the city of Pontiac. And with that, I'll turn it over to both Director Campbell and to Ms. Redmond. Guru Redmond.
Good evening, everyone. So this year, for the Community Development Block Grant, there are several activities that we're looking to execute to get approved by City Council. One, as we know, the administration is a part of the program, as well as construction of 3 bathrooms in the parks of in the city, Oakland Park, JC Park, and Aaron Park. We also will be implementing public service, which we will be sending out an RFP for nonprofits to put in an application to receive public service. It's various activities that we will be identifying as far as what projects they can RFP for. It'll be identified in the RFP for the various nonprofits. That's under the public service. There was a concern a few months ago regarding public service, and that this will fall under the public service, the RFP that will be put out. We will also have funds in for demolition for properties in the city of Pontiac that are blighted, as well as housing rehab. We also will include, this year's the first year that we will be receiving home funds, and we will be RFPing out for 2 single-family homes to be located in the city of Pontiac as well. Questions?
So clarifying questions before we open it up for the public hearing. Coordinator Redmond has laid out the different categories, and then when we get to the resolution, we can give more specificity, but she wanted to give an overview before we open it for the public to provide their feedback. Any other clarification? Do you want to put dollar amounts with those?
Oh, yeah, sure. So administration is $287,345. The construction of 3 park bathrooms is $600,000. Public service is $172,407, and just to let you know, public service, there's a cap that we are required not to go over for public service. That's how we came up with that amount. $172,407. Housing rehab, $200,000. And demolition, $176,975. That's the CDBG allocation.
For 2025.
Yes, $1,436,727. For home, $33,685.59 for administration, $400,000 for home CHODO for a housing program.
Any other clarifying questions before we open up the public hearing? Hearing no further clarifying questions, thank you for setting the table, and we'll have you come back when we have the resolution before us and we can answer questions that are raised at that point as well. The public hearing is opened at 8:16 p.m. Please come, state your name and address, and you've got the floor.
Carlton Jones, 1323 Oakland Drive here in Pontiac. I'm extremely excited to see CBDG grant funding being handled locally. I'm not quite sure, but I would love to be able to see how we can make sure that all those areas include some training opportunities for people in Pontiac and opportunities to help develop contractors here locally when we are looking at trying to issue these funding. So we have to be proactively making sure that our funding is cycling to really help the community and the people in the community. So we need to make an extra effort to whatever is being done, and we'll help. I don't want to put it all on you. I'm willing to help so that we can try to make sure that we cycle money inside our city to our residents, our contractors. They need training, they need development. This is the part of how we develop economic increase in our city. So I'm willing to help. I volunteer myself to help with this in any kind of way possible to make sure that we get proper training and development with contractors to make sure we can try to home grow as much of this as possible. Because then that's the effect that we can really have, but talking about developing our communities. So I commend you all for taking it. I know it's been handled by the county, but I think we got the right people doing it, and I want to be to support it 100%. Thank you.
What a lot of us
Name
would
and
like
address.
to see if we could break this
Name
down.
and address.
What?
Name and address.
Oh, I'm sorry. Kathy Desrow, 1200 Colony Lane, Pontiac. A lot of us would like to see this broken down into common people speak, like how much is each district going to get? What is it allocated for? Could we possibly get that in writing on a piece of paper that we can share with our people, district by district? Because I also understood, and I may be wrong, that it was allocated to be allocated and cared for differently than it used to be when we had it under our charge before, which has been a while. So the people who have lived here with it, without it, and now with it again, there's a lot of questions. And we hear a lot of numbers here, but that means a lot to you guys because you've got a lot of paper in front of you. We've got a pad and paper. And it's just a lot of numbers. We want to know how it's allocated out per district.
Darlene Clark, 506 Nebraska. The only question that I kind of have, and it's been a question for ever since Oakland County turned the money over, is that are you going to, as the CDBG funds, are they going to work with Mr. Bass and his committee in order to, like Ms. Catherine said, to put into the community? Since demolishing homes, home repairs, and this helping the citizens of Pontiac as a whole, will you work together or put a resident on staff to help not oversee, but to work along with this program in order to get a better job done that's been done in the past?
Are there any other requests to speak? Are there any other requests to speak? Are there any other requests to speak? Hearing none, public hearing is closed at 8:20 p.m. All right, thank you very much for those questions. We'll seek to get answers now. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution approving the City of Pontiac's 2025 Annual Action Plan?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Support.
It's been moved by Councilwoman Jones, seconded by Council Pro Tem Carrington. That resolution is now before us, and want to give the floor to the staff to address the questions that have been raised most immediately. Then I'll give the floor, of course, to the mayor and administration if you want to speak more broadly. But I am going to do a point of personal privilege, so there will only be 4 council members. Pro Tem will run the meeting, but for a minute there will only be 4 council members, so if anyone else leaves, there has to be a recess. Sound good? Councilman Rutherford's attending to a public safety issue that's just hit our radar in District 1 on the south side, and I'll be right back. Thank you.
You have the floor.
So as it relates to communication with Mr. Bass, since I've been back in December, I've talked to Mr. Bass quite often. I have attended several of his meetings, and I believe I have a meeting to attend this month with him. I did have a conversation with him as it relates to the activities as well. So I've had many conversations with Mr. Bass.
Any council have any questions? Pastor Parker.
Thank you for coming and sharing with us this evening. My question didn't necessarily want to be, I was thinking how the money was divided. One thing, and one of the suggestions was that we pay closer attention to the contractors that we have in this city. And I know we expended oftentimes have asked contractors from the surrounding area to come and assist us. But I would certainly put on the table that we need to look at some of our contractors in this city, be either consultants or paid consultants if possible. I know people do better when they get paid, to help work out the money to make sure that it's being divided equitably between all the districts.
I'm going to give them an opportunity to answer your question.
So, good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Honorable Council. To address Councilman Parker's comment and also Pastor Catherine's comment. So the city is a CDBG eligible area. So we don't, our plans to HUD are not broken down by percentage by district. So in our execution of the funds, we can put things in place to make sure that the funds are being spent equitably. But that is not how we submit our work to HUD, if that helps. So you won't see that in the plan that says, you know, every district gets, 20% of these funds. But when we're in execution mode, we can talk about that. And same thing, Councilman Parker, with the contractors, having executed a couple of programs from our department, we, of course, would love to see, we would love to work with local contractors, and we have found that challenging to do so, not because they don't exist per se, but, there are, a slew of requirements, and that gets even more complex with HUD that have to be met in order to become a qualified contractor. So again, in our execution, absolutely, these are things that we can look at and make sure that they are equitable across the board. So I just wanted to point that out. And, to the point, I know Tuesday mentioned that she's been working with Mr. Bass and his folks, but that does not mean that that is our collaboration is exclusive to Mr. Bass and his folks. There are other groups, community groups, neighborhood groups, or what have you, that I know gather in the city and have interest in this. So you can always reach out, just like we attend those meetings. We are happy to attend other meetings as well. And then last but not least, Mr. Jones, I know that job readiness is in public service, but let us find the HUD reference to just make sure, see where else it fits, so that you'll know kind of what the opportunity is there, because that public service, as Tuesday mentioned, does have that cap, right? So if there are other areas, we'll let you know. Okay.
All right, Council, any other question?
Oh, I do. Sorry.
Councilwoman?
Yeah.
Relevant.
Thank you. First question to Ms. Campbell. How much of the funding is going into District 1 for sidewalks for CBG? And the reason why I'm asking the reason why I'm asking is because previously I was told the sidewalks on Motor was going to be done with CBG funding, and now I'm hearing different things. So I just want to get on the record how much are y'all spending on sidewalks?
So, a couple of points for clarity. So the CDBG sidewalk project is complete. So the work is complete. The funding for that work was from our Oakland County CDBG funds from 2023 and also from 2021. So as of, I think, June, if not already into this month, the project has been completed, and we're in the process of closing out those grants with Oakland County. Future CDBG funding, which is the Pontiac fiscal year 24 and Pontiac fiscal year 25 funding, did not include CDBG. It did not include sidewalks, and sidewalks is part of the public services cap as well. But to answer your question about how much of the sidewalks that have been completed are in District 1, I do not have that offhand, but I will be happy to get it to you because we have that information now that the project is complete.
So I keep being told that I asked the administration that, and no one has shown me yet. And the reason why I'm pressing this matter is because the administration stated that they will be doing all of Motor. And you're telling me that it's finished. Well, Motor has not been touched.
Well, I will say, and then I'll defer to the deputy mayor, perhaps that, I don't know, because I've not heard about that particular street, but it may be a project, just may not be funded with CDBG. My understanding is that sidewalks will continue, just not with CDBG funds. So I'll defer to the deputy mayor.
You had the floor, Deputy Mayor.
If City Council remembers, when we were going through this process before, the administration put forward the idea that this would be the last time that we would use CDBG money on sidewalks, and that sidewalk programs going forward would be asked to adhere to the city policy, which is the property owner is actually responsible for the sidewalk. To the specific question about Motor Street, I need to look more in depth to see what the funding mechanism is for the sidewalks on Motor.
So just
We got a follow-up question, Councilwoman?
just statement and question. So just so you understand, on Motor, I'm not talking about, there's no house that's facing the sidewalks I'm referring to. Several people have been seriously injured on those sidewalks. So I'm only going by what your engineering stated before he left. So it's a lie to me because y'all didn't do it. And my bigger issue, which will be back with them on housing, is exactly how much funding is coming into District 1 for repairs and all that other stuff. Because I was in there, it's an emergency in my district, so I have to leave. So I need to know this on the record so that when they ask me again, because I didn't know you were meeting with other groups, I've asked for several requests and it's not been answered. So our next meeting is July the 26th, just in case you didn't know. So what money and where is it going and how y'all spending it in District 1 specifically?
Yeah, so when we submit our plans to HUD, because the city is CDBG eligible citywide, we do not submit plans that say this district gets X amount and this district gets X amount. So it's more about monitoring that in our execution so that we can say, as we're spending these funds, that we want to make sure that we have projects from all the districts included. So that is how these projects work. Like, we cannot specifically exclude or select district to receive more over others. I mean, I guess we could do a equitable across the board, but that is preemptive, not knowing what the projects will be. So that would be probably not in our best interest to do that. So for this plan, as you're looking at it, that we're submitting to HUD, you will not see it broken down by district. But once this plan is approved, we can talk about that work in the execution.
President McGinnis, I have a question for you, because maybe they'll give you clarity, because I still don't hear it. Still not getting what I'm asking. We had a meeting around this time last year with an engineer that just moved on. I'm literally just trying to find out how much funding was spent on the sidewalks on Motor, if any. Because you asked the administration on your Wednesday call to give you the specific number, verbatim.
The answer is yes. Pro Tem had the...
Yeah, go ahead. You have the floor.
I'll leave you to it, but yes, we need to get information on that and any other outstanding sidewalk action. But so to better recap, so I make sure that all of council is with it, this is creating the broad framework of we're going to focus on these categories, and then what's your best practice recommendation, tag team, duo, on how we best can engage the community, update council, make sure that the funds, because we do want that. We are citywide eligible, so we want it to be serving all sides of our great city. Is there a way, we talked about earlier today, in fact, about how we can report out to council and the community with sort of a CDBG progress report? Because we're talking about 25 funds, but we've already programmed 24 funds, 23 funds, 22 funds, and we want to see how are those going, because some of those are in different lanes, if you will, lanes of improvements for our city. Any thoughts you want to share with the council and community?
I think that we put something in place that after this is approved by HUD, that is inclusive of the council, the community, along with the administration, to monitor these activities. So if we are putting out an application for something and we're going to receive applications back citywide, making sure that, while we're evaluating those applications, that we're looking at projects equitably across the districts, that kind of thing. So it's the same thing with the contractor thing. If we're putting out an RFP to get contractors to work with us on CDBG funded projects, maybe giving preference to those who are from Pontiac, right? And so we can do those things. That's internal for us to do and then report out to. So we can always report the spending by district because the money is out the door. But what we're talking about now is before the money's spent, making sure that it is equitably distributed. So I fully hear you, I fully understand, and I just want everyone to be clear, that's just not how we report to HUD, but that does not mean that those things, the internal controls can't be put in place in the city to make sure that we do that correctly.
Council Pro Tem?
Yeah, just a quick question. I know you.
Ms. Redmond had another answer to that question.
Just to kind of give you an example, when I work with Wayne County received funding for 38 communities in Wayne County. That down there, it was different cities got a certain amount of money. Being the fact that it's only Pontiac, it's not divided that way. The CDBG funds are not necessarily divided that way with HUD as the allocation. But we can, identify, we will be able to identify, look at the areas as, like for housing rehab, it's all based on the homeowner who applies, who qualifies, citywide.
Thank you. Pro Tem.
Well, definitely, that's my understanding of the program. So that's my concern is not that. But my concern is that the turnaround of when you guys will start putting out of these grants or allowing people to apply. What's the turnaround on that?
We are working with purchasing to turn these around. These bids, I have to admit, are complicated because they are tied to HUD guidelines. So these are not your standard, following city policy and or just federal regulations. HUD has a lot of language. We have to make sure it literally can be a sentence that can make the bid invalid. So we have to kind of scan these and have multiple eyes on them. So, but our goal is to move this quickly, when we're talking about, and just quick plug for our team, because I really want to give them credit for this. I mean, when I came into this role a year ago, we had, over $2 million left with Oakland County to spend from 2019 to 2023. We've since closed out that sidewalk money, which was the bulk of that. We have bids, and we're getting ready to issue a contract for the down payment assistance. That's another chunk of that money. CEO is out in the community, doing the community cleanup. That was another year of funding, and then the demo is moving along. We're working on those bids. With the FY24 home repair, the money that's going for home repair, it's moving along. We're submitting the environmentals to HUD and doing the things that we need to do. The facade improvement RFP is going out hopefully by the end of this week, if not next week. So we're pushing the money out as quickly as we can, noting that there's multiple years. There were projects that were agreed upon before any of us got here. Do we still do those, et cetera? And so now that we have learned how to manage that, if you will, and our program is whole in its structure, we can move the $25 out faster. And I mentioned this last time, but just to note, the federal budget for FY26 does not include CDBG or home dollars. So we don't know if we'll continue to receive these dollars after this year, but in the interim, we're moving full speed ahead.
Well, thank you. And my follow-up question is to the administration, and I'm deviating a little bit from this particular item. What is the plan for the second round of small business grants? When would that happen? As well as the workforce development grants, when would that happen? And you can answer that later on in the meeting. I just wanted to put those questions out there.
Councilman Parker?
Thank you, Brother President. I just had one question. I believe you mentioned earlier that you don't mind coming and explaining this to the districts, at the individual districts meetings. So I just invite you to come Thursday at 5 p.m. down in the Shrine Room to explain this to District 5 so they'll have a better understanding of what you're discussing here today.
Thank you, Councilman Parker. And Councilwoman Rutherford, I apologize if we have not received your request, but we are happy to join your meeting as invited.
That's
Councilman Parker.
again, that's this Thursday, 5 o'clock, Shrine Room. Look forward to seeing you there. We're going to have plenty of food and drinks, and we can sit and talk about this until they start to go home.
Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call Clerk Doyle on the resolution approving the 2025 Annual Action Plan for submission to the federal government.
Jones,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes?
Parker,
Yes?
Rutherford, Carrington,
Yes.
Goodman,
Yes.
Rutherford.
Reluctantly, yes.
6 yeas, no nays.
Okay. That motion carries. The resolution is adopted. Thank you for your time and your hard work. We're at number 8, resolution awarding contract for the next round of speed hump installation. Is there a motion to approve? Is there a support? It's been moved by Councilwoman Rutherford, seconded by Pro Tem Carrington. The administration has the floor.
Thank you. We're joined this evening by our DPW Director, Larry Searles, and I want to turn it over to him. I also want to note that there was a question from a member of the public, Director Searles, that you can probably shed some light into, which is, has there been any assessment around the effectiveness of the speed humps? Now, effectiveness obviously can mean a few different things. One is, have they reduced speed? Obviously, that's the ultimate barometer of effectiveness. But the other question is this the best approach to installing speed humps or speed bumps? I know that you've given that quite a bit of thought, and I understand that you're looking to potentially switch that up in the future in terms of the specific approach. I think all of us have gotten anecdotal feedback from residents that they are effective in reducing speeds on streets, that residents like them, they want to keep them on their streets, they want them on their streets. So I think there's a fair amount of anecdotal evidence that they actually do work. Of course, there's some risk, presumably, that people are avoiding the streets with the speed humps if they want to speed and then going to other streets to speed. So it may be shifting traffic patterns or shifting where people are speeding more than ultimately slowing down the average speed in the community. But if you can shed any light on any of that and then walk us through the plan for this year with speed humps, which is this proposal, that would be great.
Excellent, Mayor. So as far as an actual speed study in the areas that we've already installed speed humps, we have not followed up on that. There's a lot of data that would support there is some change in traffic pattern. There's data that supports it does slow down traffic in some areas. To answer the question of was there any engineering or traffic engineering put in on these current locations, the answer is yes. Distances, sight distances, distance from curves and stops were added into the selected locations. Council selected locations based on the resident feedback the feedback that residents provided to council. But the fine tuning of the location was run through traffic engineering. We do need to look forward in some traffic calming alternatives. I don't know the exact condition of the current speed humps, but I've seen quite a few that have some damage. And as the mayor said, I think we're due to provide council with a menu of traffic calming measures, not to eliminate speed humps, but to add to our tools in our toolboxes to help manage traffic speeding. Some of those are, flashing lights. Some of those are movable boards that flash the traffic. Some of it's residential education. Let's have some town halls and talk about the speeding. But overall, traffic studies will help us with that in our residential streets. And those studies don't go away just for this issue. Those are things that we would use for applications for road funding. So it's not just an effort that use once, look at it, and put away. So as far as this particular bid, there was only one bidder, but that bid came in for this contractor did the last round of installation, and their unit pricing is actually lower. So it isn't like, oh no, what do we do? But there's plenty of money budgeted for the speed humps, and we'll be ready to. The contractor says they're ready to go as soon as they're awarded. Any questions?
Questions from council members? So my understanding, based on subcommittee deliberations, is that this would essentially mirror the volume of speed humps that were installed 3 years ago, which was basically 3 lengths of street, 3 streets per city council district. So 21 streets approximately were able to be impacted 3 years ago with, well, maybe it's 2.5 years now at this point, 2.5 years ago with speed hump installation. So there would be a similar volume expansion in terms of the number of streets. I just want to confirm that. What is your anticipation, should this be approved, for when installation would take place?
Relatively quick, just because I happened to talk to the contractor, they have the scope to start. I would imagine 3 weeks, we could see something going on. Maybe, well, with Ms. Dig, it'd probably be 4.
Further discussion on speed humps, Pro Tem?
Yes, thank you, President McGinn. This is a question for the administration concerning the street Granada, which originally had a type of speed reduction road at the end of that street. I know we talked about it over this last several months, where that community has been complaining that since they got their road done, that speed mechanism wasn't replaced after the road was done. So I was just wondering, was this in that list of streets
Bless you.
That was chosen? I was told by planning that it'll be taken care of. I know we had back and forth emails concerning this particular street.
Anyone have any immediate information?
Councilman Carrington, yes, I recently found out we're missing one. We had one placed, we had a road project, we took it up, it never made it back in.
That's exactly.
So the answer is yes. Once we have the vendor under contract, we'll get that one reinstalled.
Okay, thank you.
Because now the road's nice, people are flying.
Yes.
This resolution before us identifies the funding source as the local street fund, and that is where it came from 2.5 years ago. City engineers have expressed their concern that they think that those local street funds should go towards, building up enough to do some local street repair. That's the fund what it's used for. We have discussed at the subcommittee level the prospect of instead using general fund dollars. Does the mayor or department director or deputy mayor have any reflections on whether to use local street funds versus general funds?
Well, I think at the end of the day, it's a bit of 6 to 1, half dozen the other. My recommendation would be, at least this year, to mirror what we did 2.5 years ago and use the local street funds. If we believe that, and I say that in part because unless we have a specific plan for those local street funds, then we might as well use the less fungible, less flexible pot of money to apply street fund dollars for the speed humps. If in the future we're short for a specific local street project, we can always then transfer general fund dollars for that purpose. But I would say, in general fund dollars, because they're more flexible, if we have other dollars we can spend on any priority, whether it's CDBG funds for a priority, whether it's local street funds for a priority, whether it's sanitation fund for a priority, that general fund dollars should be conserved if there are other opportunities to use specific funds that do qualify for a given purpose. So that would be my recommendation from just a financial philosophy standpoint. And I don't know if our DPW director has another perspective. Obviously, the DPW director would like to see as much money put into roads as possible, I'm sure. So from that perspective, maybe he would say, well, yeah, let's get as much general fund dollars dedicated to roads as possible. But at the same time, I think maintaining as much financial flexibility is always a plus.
Well, I will agree on 2 points. Yes, I'd love to see more money in local roads, but council can always move general fund dollars easier than road dollars. The Act 51 restricts the local road dollars to local roads. This does qualify. But Council President, if you did want to move general fund dollars, they are easier to move than local road dollars the other way.
I wanted to invoke the question because it appeared to be a reason why the administration or members of the administrative staff had cause for concern about pursuing more speed humps, that they felt as though that was not as big of a funding priority. The council has again and again reiterated, we're hearing from residents, they want to see it and they want to see it yesterday. So we're reflecting and we're hearing it at the grassroots level. So that's why we've been trying to advocate over the years for that inclusion. I just wanted to offer that we have the opportunity now, if we needed to pivot, that we could have pivoted on the funding source because it's a priority the council's identified. But I hear you loud and clear that if there's another, and I hope you can hear that, if there's something before this fiscal year is done, for this council or a future council, before this fiscal year is done, and you need X to fix this emergency repair that would have to come from local road, you know what I mean? That don't say, oh, well, the fund's depleted, that consider the general fund up for discussion, up for debate, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Councilman Parker, Councilman Goodman, Mayor Grimal.
Thank you, Mr. President. My question actually centers around speeding, and I know the speed hump is supposed to stop some of the speeding, although I don't think listening to the residents doesn't necessarily do that. But my question is, what are we doing for the streets for the major streets where you can't put speed humps in regards to controlling speeding?
Well, I've not been here that long, but I've heard already from residents about speeding as an issue, even drag racing as an issue. I think that we could from Public Works, we could put together a holistic traffic calming draft for council to review. We'd probably be asked to bring it to subcommittee first, but there's avenues to reduce speeds. But there, holistically, you know, some of it's lane stripe it, some of it's bump out, some of it, which bump outs make it safer to cross the road, some of it is enforcement. So I would like to, I mean, I'm hearing you're asking for some more thoughts on traffic calming, slowing down cars. And I think there's enough, I have enough background in that I could bring a draft easily in 2 weeks.
So perhaps we'll have a conversation after the meeting on one of the days.
Correct.
Okay, because I know Bay Street is one of the major streets that people complain about people speeding on because it's right next to a school. So
right.
It is one of the issues. And because it is a major street, you can't put speed humps on it. So we do need to work on getting that resolved.
Excellent. And I feel comfortable I could bring you guys a draft to look at in 2 weeks, then we can talk about it further.
Councilman Goodman?
So I do want to reiterate something that Council President has said, because I as you saw me come down to your office this week, I used to talk to DPW a lot, and one of the main critiques that I would hear is that they don't have a problem with the speed humps, but that the money is coming out of the local roads, because I would be under the assumption that local repairs and patching for local roads would also come out of that fund.
Correct.
And I think it needs to be said that there's a lot of work that needs to be done on our local roads. We need some more concrete solutions, pun not intended. And so I would rather us leave as much money as possible available for side road repairs and local road repairs, because they are absolutely needed. And I'd rather just take the money for the speed humps out of the general fund, because I want DPW to be able to have the freedom and the bandwidth to be able to make these repairs without them getting bottlenecked or having to come back to us for us to put money there.
Mayor Grimal, Councilman Jones.
Yeah, I do just want to both acknowledge your point, President McGinnis, but also speak clearly to the elephant in the room, that we had people here in the past who are no longer here who did not like speed humps, to speak plainly. Those people were not the deputy mayor or me. They're not Director Searles. I want to give Director Searles a lot of credit for understanding that when it comes to the important work of the DPW, it's not just about having the highest quality surface that gets people from point A to point B as quickly as possible. That's sort of the old school DPW or transportation model. And Director Searles understands that there are other considerations in terms of making streets pedestrian friendly, making them safer, and making sure that they actually build community. And so I know that there were people in the past who said, well, we don't like this for X, Y, and Z. And one of those reasons was the source of funding, but there were lots of other reasons that they gave too. And it's a new day with Director Searles in his position, and Director Searles has taken a very collaborative, open-minded, broader-minded approach, and I want to acknowledge him for doing that.
Councilwoman Jones, followed by Councilman Goodman.
Actually, I'd like to entertain a motion to, and I actually want to clarify, is it best or more effective to implement a motion for a revision to the funding source? Because I also don't like the idea of this coming from the local streets fund. I think that needs to be preserved for our streets. We have so many repairs and not enough money. And I do want speed humps. I do, absolutely. And lots of my constituents do as well, because we have children in our neighborhoods. We have, elderly people in our neighborhoods. We have humans that have no special classification in our neighborhoods, out walking, enjoying our community, and we have drivers and motorcyclists and Lord knows what else ripping through. And it's not just my neighborhood, it's others as well. So question or motion to edit the account source, unless a postponement is going to be most effective.
It's your prerogative, but yes, you can, it would be germane, it's in order if you want to change the funding source from the local street fund to instead be from the general fund. Or you can keep the whereas doesn't have to change. You could say, it would have to be its own budget amendment. That would have to be a budget amendment where you're moving $525,000 from the general fund to the local roads, so that would not be handled tonight. That would be in order, but we would, we could motion to adopt a resolution later, initiating the clerk to post notice of a budget amendment, so that way at the end of the month, at our next city council meeting, we could consider moving $525,000 from the general fund to the local streets fund, if that makes sense.
Okay. Do I need to retract?
No, you didn't technically, if there's no second, it just kind of stays lingering in the
Actually,
wilderness.
I would feel, with the absence of 2 council members, I would like to postpone this.
You'd like to
we
postpone
can-
the whole resolution? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Okay. Councilwoman Jones is moving to postpone consideration of this resolution to the next council meeting. Is there a second?
Support.
All right. It's been moved and seconded that this resolution be postponed. I am not in favor of postponement because, I mean, the bidder is the bidder, the price is the price, the priority is the priority, and what's incumbent upon us is just the funding of it. And so it all ultimately is taxpayer dollars. It's just internally, how are we organizing it with our budget? And that could be a separate decision at a separate time. So I do not support postponement. Pro Tem?
I don't support postponement. It needs to be done. My district's been waiting on this for years, and we continue to put this off, and we need to get this done.
And Ms. Jones, we do kind of have a place in line with the contractor. We're kind of we're kind of the contractor's next stop. I mean, you guys could vote to move the money into local roads with a budget amendment after this, if council wanted to.
Any further clarity or discussion on the motion to postpone?
I would like to, withdraw.
Does the second?
Yes.
Councilwoman Jones and Councilman Goodman withdraws their motion to postpone. So we're back to main discussion. Any further discussion on the resolution itself?
Yes.
Yes. I'm sorry. Councilman Goodman was next on the speakers list. So Goodman, then Jones.
Yeah, and just to make this real quick, it is not that we don't want speed humps. It's just that we would prefer that the money for local roads stays in local roads as much as we can. That way you have the flexibility to use that money for other things besides speed humps. We still want them, just pulling from a different pot of money. So I want that to be very clear and well stated. And with the withdrawing of the motion, I just want to make sure that we have something at the next meeting about the moving of the money.
Yeah, and I'll state it's certainly eligible to be considered. I just want to flag that this is in part baked into the existing budget because this was known it was coming. So it's not as though we're choosing to not do other local street projects because we're drawing it down. I just wanted to, and now I regret it, raise the philosophical question about speed hump funding source. But Pandora's box is open. So next on the speakers list, Councilwoman Jones.
So you are saying that this resolution can be, if it is, can be adopted tonight, and we can post budget amendment and change the funding source at a later meeting. That would still be, appropriate.
That is still eligible, yes. We could, later in the evening, just suspend the rules and pass a resolution saying we hereby authorize the clerk to post notice of a budget amendment for the July 29th City Council meeting that proposes moving $525,000 from the general fund, the unassigned general fund balance, to the local street fund. And we could, confirm the GL numbers to invoke. It's worth noting, though, that there might not be existing local street fund projects. It would then be on Public Works and their team to say, okay, now that council's saying that's a priority, how do we deploy that in the remaining, 9 months or 10 months of the fiscal year?
Correct.
Okay? Everyone clear on what's before us? This is a resolution that would authorize the award of the speed cushion installation contract to J Rank Electric, Inc. in accordance with the bid submitted and project specifications for a cost not to exceed $524,500. Hearing no further discussion, no further clarity request. Roll call and adoption. Clerk Doyle.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Parker. Yes. Carrington,
Yes.
Goodman,
Yes.
Jones. 5 yeas, no nays.
That motion carries. The resolution is adopted. Could I please have a motion to suspend the rules to take up a resolution not previously on the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second? Councilman Goodman moves to suspend the rules. Councilwoman Jones moves to second. This would be to take up a resolution not already on the approved agenda. Everyone clear? Everyone seems clear. Roll call on adoption or on the motion to suspend the rules. Clerk Doyle.
Carrington,
No.
Goodman,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Parker. 4 yeas, 1 nay.
Is a simple majority sufficient for suspending the rules, or does it require 2/3? Okay. The clerk determines that the rules are suspended in that fashion. So the proposal, should it be moved and seconded, is a resolution authorizing the clerk to post notice of a proposed budget amendment, taking $525,000 from the unassigned general fund balance and moving it to the local street fund, Fund 203. Is there a motion to adopt that resolution?
So moved.
Board.
It's been moved by Councilman Goodman, seconded by Councilwoman Jones. Is everyone clear on the resolution? It's meaning that at the end of July, we'll take up a budget amendment. I'm going to vote in favor of it, even though I haven't decided how I feel about the merits, in part just to not slow down council members having the right to even consider it. Any further discussion?
So what was, I'm sorry, to take how much money from the general?
525,000.
From the general fund?
524,500.
I rounded up to 525,000.
Okay.
Make it simpler.
To the local street funds.
Everyone clear? Roll call. Clerk Doyle on adoption of that resolution authorizing you to post notice of a budget amendment.
Carrington,
No.
Goodman,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Parker. Yes. 4 yeas, 1 nay.
All right, that motion carries. The resolution is adopted. We'll deliberate that further at July 29th's meeting. We are at number 9 on the agenda. It's a resolution awarding a bid and authorizing contract with Brendel Septic Tank Service and Jay's Septic for as-needed portable restroom rentals and services. Is there a motion?
Moved by Carrington, or support.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Goodman, seconded by Pro Tem Carrington. This is in the amount of $41,000 at multiple sites throughout the city. It serves a multitude of services, anything from administration before further deliberation. Director Searles, anything further?
I just want to let council know that we're doing this because in the past, we've went a little bit over our needs or our budget. So we wanted council to approve us to enter into a contract with both vendors as they both supply a couple different services. It's regular stall Porta-John, it's handicap stall Porta-John, it's Porta-John with what? So with this contract, it'll be able to meet all of our needs for all of our events in our parks and for special events at City Hall and DPW.
Any clarity needed? Thank you for the proactive approach. I think that's probably more cost-effective for taxpayers than a la carte as we go. Hearing no further discussion, roll call on adoption of the resolution. Clerk Doyle.
Goodman,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Parker. Yes. Carrington.
Yes.
5 yeas, no nays.
Motion carries. Resolution's adopted. We're at number 10, resolution approving updated bid for Meadow Drive construction project. This is state grant-funded work. We have voted previously on the matter. This is just fine-tuning the approval and consideration process. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Support.
Councilwoman Jones moves. Councilman Goodman seconds. Administration, you have the floor.
Yeah, this doesn't change the substance of the proposal or topic. It simply makes sure that our I's are dotted and T's are properly crossed. And I don't know if Director Searles has anything to add, but otherwise we can probably proceed with the vote.
Just in case council needed to know, there was a change at the state law level about how grant funds were administered. Even though we had already had a grant agreement, we had a legal opinion from our team that said just to make sure one day it doesn't come back on us that we didn't spend the grant funds properly and it hit our city coffers, we decided to come back and re-award this with the prevailing wage in the bid documents. It changed the number slightly, a small percentage. $217,000 is not a small number, but a small percentage of the project. And I do want to give you guys just a quick update. We may come back again with this same project because we were granted $7.5 million. We've heard from the grantor that they would allow us to increase the scope. First, let's get our T's crossed and I's dotted. Second, we may come back if we can program more on the Clinton River Trail with this same project. We'd be coming with a contract amendment to spend the remaining grant funds.
I appreciate that heads up, so that way we said, why didn't you tell us at that point? And more improvement is better while the guts are open. Let's keep doing the more surgery. I like the sound of that, and we look forward to learning more. Any final discussion on this resolution? Hearing none, roll call and adoption. Clerk Doyle.
Jones?
Yes.
McGinnis?
Yes.
Parker? Yes. Carrington?
Yes.
Goodman?
Yes.
5 yeas, no nays.
That motion carries. The resolution is adopted. We're at closing comments, and it's only a shade after 9 p.m. Closing comments, Mayor Greimel. No excuse to say it's too late. I got nothing to say. Okay.
That's true, but I'm still going to say that because I want to take advantage of the opportunity to get out of here relatively early. So I don't have anything earth-shattering to share, and I hope we can all get on with our evening.
Okay, Mayor Greimel. Deputy Mayor Stevens.
Yes, so just to answer the question that Councilman Carrington asked, small business grants, the second round, there's an RFP that's supposed to go out to have a third party administer them. That should be going out by the end of next week. And then the workforce development, I don't have an update on that item at this time.
And just to add an addendum question, we did receive communication. City Council was contacted by someone who was an awardee of the literacy component of that workforce development, literacy and child care category, that they're still awaiting a response or funding distribution. So I will forward that to you so you make sure that you've seen that as well. Clerk Doyle, closing comments?
I'll be brief. Just a reminder to the public, the clerk's office will be sponsoring the community visioning session on cannabis social equity on July 16th at 6 p.m. at the Bowen Center. Light refreshments will be served. To RSVP, you can contact the clerk's office at 248-758-3200 or email us at clerk@pontiac.mi.us. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll do District 5, staying alive. Closing comments, Councilman Parker.
Thank you, Brother President, because I've been holding this in for about a month now. Because everybody keeps wondering what makes a pastor decide to be in politics, and why is that, and why do we all think that somewhere in the annals of time that somebody has decided that it is just not it's just not good for a pastor to be in politics. Can I remind everybody who stands at that mic and say they are led by God of what Romans chapter 13 says? That every soul be subject unto higher powers, for there is no power but God. The power that be are ordained of God. I know we have heard that saying about the separation of church and state. I don't bring church to here. I bring William Parker to here. I make decisions because I do listen to God, and God does direct me, and he tells me what to say, and I don't say a very lot because he told me to keep my peace. For the Bible said, let the Lord fight your battles. So a lot of the stuff that goes on, I don't communicate on. I let the Lord deal with it. And I certainly do thank everybody who comes to the mic and speaks to what they have seen of me. Because the Bible said, that which you have seen and heard of me, commit thou to faithful men who shall be able to teach others also. So I stand behind what I do at this council. I stand behind what I do at the pulpit. I stand behind what I do in the community. I have conducted myself with honor, integrity, and respect. I treat everybody with respect, and I expect that even though they don't, they will treat me the way I treat them. And so I say, I am here because of one name and one name only. That is God. And if you got a problem with me being here, take it up with him. Amen. Next thing, and if you want to read, I'll give you some scripture since y'all say y'all read the Bible. Romans chapter 13, Hebrews chapter 13, Psalm 118, Daniel 2, verse 21, and so forth and so on. So if you want me to repeat these, call me at the church. I can be located at the church. Call me at the house. I'll be located at my house. Call me at this office. 248-758-3019. I'll answer any questions that you want me to answer to you about why I sit here. I sit here because God told me, and if I'm not mistaken, a good portion of Pontiac City said they wanted a pastor to sit here. I did not hide the fact that I was a pastor when I ran, and I do not hide the fact that I'm a pastor while I sit. So if you got a problem with it, again, take it up with my boss. You can reach him at heaven's number. I'm sure you say you talk with him. Continue to talk with him. I'm sure that he could tell you exactly why he has me sitting here, and he will tell you why I am yet again sitting in another office, because he told me to. Now, I have some other things. Please remember, and I invite everybody to attend District 5 meeting this Thursday at 5 p.m. in this Shrine Room. We have a lot of things to discuss, and I pray that you will come and sit with us. I want to thank Councilman Miller for letting me know that they need a sweeper on the Emerson Street. I want to thank her for that, and I would ask that as she gets those calls, that she would submit those to me so I can move them there more quickly than waiting for her to come and tell me at council meetings. Also, I want to mention that I want to thank all of you who come, and I want to thank each and every one of you who come and support. And I just want to go and say, everybody have a great evening. I hope you will have as good an evening as I plan on having this evening. And I look forward to supporting Councilman Goodman's in his event this Sunday. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Councilman Goodman, closing comments?
Yeah. Well, as always, very happy to mention, please do come to the Pullover Prevention Clinic this Sunday. Last year, we were able to feed over 2,000 people, fix over 500 cars. Want to be able to keep doing that for as many people in this community as possible. So please come to the Baldwin Center from 1 to 5 p.m. And even if you have to come a little bit after 5 p.m., we'll probably still be there waiting for you because it's about helping the people. But, don't lean on coming late too much. But we're gonna have free barbecue from Uncle Jerry's. We're gonna have some renters' rights assistance. Gonna have some pet supplies and some other resources from all the different orgs that we'll be tabling. Again, this is just a very, very important thing. As a community, the best thing that we can do amongst ourselves is keep ourselves safe. And this is my part of doing that as much as I can for our community to minimize unnecessary interaction, to keep people safely on the road and get them whatever resources that they may possibly need. Separate of that, a lot of people have been reaching out to me about the Renters' Bill of Rights, all the resolutions and all the information revolving that. Please, call me, ask any questions that you want. I live and breathe housing policy, and I have no problem talking the things that I'm trying to help do in the city of Pine to help improve our renters' lives and the community's quality of life as a whole. So if you have any questions, there's a graphic floating around through the community that gives a summary of a lot of these things. But if you have any questions, feel free to call me, whether it be about the event or about the ordinances. Numbers 248-758-3015. And then I look forward to seeing all of you at the next District 3 meeting, which will be the last Monday, which is the 28th this month at the Baldwin Center at 5:30. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Jones, District 2.
Pride and beautification season is not quite over because I'm still delivering signs. I am personally delivering signs to all District 2 nominees and those who qualify for the award. So look out for those. They will be coming around this week. I'm taking it neighborhood by neighborhood, and look for your sign. It's going to be a really nice surprise for those who did not know. And in fact, I've run into a few who did not know that they were nominated, and the way they lit up was just so heartwarming. So thank you to everyone who took the time to nominate your neighbors, because that says a lot. Your silent voice says a lot, and people are really thankful for you noticing their hard work. Outside of that, there will be a District 2 meeting on July 19th from 12 to 1. I intended to bring information and share with you all about the District 2 Lifesaver Lab, which is open to all Pontiac residents. I partnered with Healing Hearts, and we are offering CPR, first aid training, Narcan administration, stop the bleed, and that is happening in July. I use the word intended because within 24 hours of me posting this, all seats were filled. All 3 different clinics were filled within 24 hours. So I bring this to you now because this clinic will return in August, because there was enough interest, and I have quite a few people on the wait list already. So in August, this clinic will be returning, and it will include active shooter response training, which I hope none of you will ever need, but it will be provided just in case. And that will be through partnership with another council colleague who can reveal themselves if they want to.
You can unmask me.
Okay, it's going to be with Council President McGinnis. So look for that flyer. That will be coming in August. I will do my best to market it before I post the ad this time to be sure more people have a chance to learn about it. Those who are on the wait list will be added to their desired class. So if you are interested, please contact me, 248-758-3027. Or you could contact Denise or Council President McGinnis, and I don't know their numbers offhand. But you contact me, and you will get answers to all your questions. And that's it.
Okay. District 1, Councilwoman Rutherford.
I'm going to be candid for a moment and be vulnerable. 2 babies. 2 young men who had a bright future. 2 young men that could have been different. They're no longer here with us. The reason why I want to first apologize to my colleagues. I've been having to walk in and out, particularly this time, is because I have 2 young men that live in my district that have been shot. And from my understanding, both of the young brothers are deceased. So as a mother, I'm grieving with the family, but I'm grieving with this community because it's senseless. And I don't have the words to fathom what I would feel like if it was one of my children. And so I don't want to play politics. I'm going to ask that everybody pray. We lost another young man from the city of Pontiac for breaking in a home. There's 3 young men no longer here. I'm going to ask y'all to really pray. And as you pray, I want you to ask yourself, what is the ceasefire program actually doing? Who do they report to? When's the last time we've heard of the steps they're going to take to try to calm down what is actually happening in the streets? From my understanding, they have an office that flipped the script. I didn't know that. Why are they not based here? When's the last time they gave us a report? And you're like, why are you bringing that up? I'm bringing it up because we put money aside to have special things to happen, special training to happen, so that when we have this type of flare-up in violence, we've had 2 children got hit by a car. That was on 4th of July, if I'm not mistaken. We've had another young man who from Pontiac get killed at White Lake. We have 2 more that have just passed. And at what point do we start asking what is going on and what are we doing as a city? Now, we could sugarcoat and pussyfoot, and that's two things I do not do. But now we got babies in the street, dead. And I don't want to hear no come to Jesus moment. I want us to first pray, and then I would like to know what is the action going to be from this council. Because we have never asked, in my opinion, for action to happen, for accountability to happen, not because we can save the city, but we can do something. Because now once I leave here, I got to go on the south side, and I got to deal with people's families who I don't have an answer for them. And so I'm not trying to put pressure on nobody. I'm telling you, we got to do something. We were just parading around how our crime has went down, and now this is happening. There has to be some accountability, even if it's not us directly, but us as a city as a whole. We have got to stop this. Because if we do not, we are putting ourselves and our community in harm's way. So I'm asking y'all to pray for the families. I'm asking for the administration in the next 2 weeks to please give us an update on what Ceasefire is actually doing, what they're doing with their training, who actually is running Ceasefire. Did y'all hire the new person y'all supposed to hire? When did they report? What are the outcomes? What are the tangibles? And I could ask that because it's my money as a taxpayer that's paying them. I thought I wasn't going to have a district meeting. I was trying to give myself a break, but because of the things that have happened, particularly in my district, we are going to have a meeting. It's going to be the last Saturday of the month. It's going to be at Sunset Island from 3 to 5. And I just ask that y'all pray and y'all, we as a people come up with something, because it isn't going to affect you until you know somebody directly. And I happen to know this family directly. And that's all I have. Have a good night.
Thank you for reporting out on that grave news. Council Pro Tem Carrington.
Yes, thank you, President McGinnis. First and foremost, I'd like to thank everybody that came to the meeting tonight. My condolences go out to the families that lost a loved one tonight. The next District 6 community meeting is July the 24th at Ruth Peterson. It starts at 6 p.m. It's over by 7:30 p.m. So please come out, get the updates of what's happening in the 6th District. So again, please come out to the meeting. I look forward to bringing you up to date about what's happening in the 6th District. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you to my council colleagues for your work tonight and every day, both in meetings, in City Hall, and in the community. For District 7 on the east side, the next monthly meeting for our east side community meetings is this coming Monday, 7 p.m. It's the second Monday of every month, 7 p.m. at Prospect Church, 351 Sanford Street at the corner of Sanford and Prospect. The community is invited out. Wanted to share that at the Planning Commission meeting most recently, there was a recommended zoning change that'll come before City Council soon that's related to a sliver of land with the Lighthouse campus expansion. So we should expect that soon. We've already done the rezoning for the rest of it. This is a final add-on sliver. There also were 3 different decisions regarding businesses made that the community might want to know about. One is about a used car lot that's coming back online on Cesar Chavez around 786 Cesar Chavez, just south of the VFW. And immediately to that south, you might have noticed a new building that has been constructed. That received a special exception and site plan approval at Planning Commission, and it is a new marijuana business. So we'll have the first adult use marijuana dispensary opening in Pontiac in a matter of weeks. Also, at that meeting is a special exception and site plan. Both were approved for Woodward Avenue, south of the downtown, just north of the train tracks where it crosses Woodward Avenue. That also is an adult use marijuana business that was approved. So to community members that have asked what became of those marijuana businesses, that's what's become of the marijuana businesses, that it is progressing in different ways. We will update the community as we learn more, but I wanted to share that as well. On behalf of the City of Pontiac, please hold your loved ones close. Please stay safe. Our condolences and heart goes out to all community members impacted by violence as we work as a community to move forward and prevent any injury or death. Thank you. Hearing no further discussion, no further motions, could I please have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
It's been moved by Councilman Goodman, seconded by Councilwoman Jones. Hearing no discussion, roll call on adjournment. Clerk Doyle.
Carrington,
Yes.
Goodman,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
5 yeas, no nays.
That motion carries. We stand adjourned at 9:25 p.m.